Hey, Lumineers! Welcome back to another episode of Limited Quackdown, brought to you by Team Snuggly Duckling. I'm Joe from South Florida, joined on the line by Jimmy from New Orleans and Joe from St. Louis. We're here to bring you the Winterspell set review. We're going to go card by card tonight and break down the entire Winterspell set, trying to prepare you for your pre-release events happening later on this week. Hopefully, everyone will get to participate in some kind of sealed or draft coming up this weekend as we dive into all of the brand new cards and glory that Winterspell has to offer. So tonight we're going to, like I said, go card by card. We're going to evaluate every card, have some discussions about our grades. And to get us started this week, let's just take a little around the horn and catch up on what everybody's been doing this week with Lorcana and everything else. Let's kick it first over to Joe and see what you have going on.
So, last weekend I was wrapping up some set championships. I'm still a little bit in the mindset of set 10 just because of the weather that we've had up here in Missouri, and I have some more set championships coming up this weekend, but I was able to play a little bit with the set 11 cards for core constructed. And then I spent some time this week here at the end looking at what things might be for limited. I'm excited for the pre-release next weekend, but I've got a couple more set champs coming up, and wish me luck on Saturday and Sunday. But unfortunately my mind's been set 10, and I'm looking forward to starting to delve deeper into set 11. So
So you guys had some weather issues that caused your champs to get bumped?
yeah, almost every set champs for the last 2 weekends were rescheduled, and then it's hard to reschedule around other stores, and so uh, last weekend and this upcoming weekend are additional set champs rescheduled dates, and so uh, yeah, it's one of those where you don't want to step on other stores' toes, and you're trying to make sure everyone can go to as many stores as possible, and so they pushing them out farther and farther, and so. But I think this weekend is the last couple scheduled ones, and then set 10 will be a wrap for us.
Nice. Have you collected any mats yet this season?
No, I've collected a lot of second and third places, so still trying to get the mat, but um, here's hoping, right?
Yeah, we're pulling for you this weekend. How about you, Jimmy? What do you have going on this week in Lorcana?
This week, not much. With the start of Mardi Gras season and work going on, it's been pretty busy. So I haven't got to play any Lorcana, though I have been doing some brewing for Constructed, trying to prepare for playing some Winterspell.
Very nice. Any cards sticking out to you for constructed so far?
I want to make Chernabog work, and I want
It
to make
looks bad on
Widow.
paper. It looks bad on paper, but I think
Yep,
Chernabog is actually very strong.
and I want to make Widow and Todd work.
Oh, excellent. That'll be nice. My week was basically just doing some at-home cube drafts with my son. We do heads up cube. We shuffle up twice as many packs. We do 16 packs, and basically every time you draft a card, you burn a card.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
So each pack that you draft, you end up with 6 cards, and then at the end of the draft, we've been doing cutting down to 35 this week in preparation for the new format. And those last 5 cuts were a lot harder to make than I had suspected they would be. And I'm excited to see what a 35 card draft looks like in retail limited in the next couple of weeks. Yeah,
I want to see how much of a difference that makes for milling people out. We'll see.
definitely. A whole new world in cube is a lot quicker to get to the bottom of the deck now. All right. So we're gonna buckle in for a long one tonight. We're gonna go all 204 cards, one card at a time. We're lined up on a lot of cards, and we have some letter grade discussions to get to between us for some of these cards. So we're gonna jump into the grading scale that we're gonna use. We're gonna use the tried and true Magic the Gathering limited resources A through F grading scale. We've got some examples ready to go. And Jimmy, why don't you take us away?
Yeah, so we'll start with A's. These are your bombs, your first picks, your game winners. As you can see here, Cheshire Cat, Ursula, Horseman, all from Whispers. They were all fantastic. And then from there, we get to our B's. And these are just your solid, your first 4 picks of the pack, usually. Your card advantage cards, your good removal, standard stuff like that. The picks you take when there's not a bomb in the pack. And then we got our C's, which are basically like mostly your 5 through 8, probably, in your pick counts when you're drafting, or, just when your most of your cards in a sealed deck. And these are all, just your solid bodies, good abilities.
Nothing embarrassing.
Right. And then we start getting to the embarrassing stuff. And so here we have your last cuts, your filler, just the last couple cards. Some of them have some niche abilities that they'll be vanilla or terrible, but occasionally they'll be really good. 10% of the time they'll play above rate. And then we have your do not plays. Almost unplayable in every situation. Your Fs, just don't play them. All right, are we ready to get into it now that we went through what our A through F means?
Yep. We have we're going to use one other grade once in a while as a build around. These are cards that on their own, don't necessarily do a ton, or they might have a kind of corner case ability, but if you put a bunch of cards around them, you can really make them shine and make them into one of the best cards in your deck. All right, so we're going to do this in cost order. We're going to start with ones and go all the way up to, I think there's a 12 in this set, and we're going to do them by rarity. So we're going to start with commons, go 1 through I think 7 or 8, and then repeat that with uncommons, rares, and all the way through. So like I said, grab a drink, sit down, and buckle up, because we're gonna get into them. So first we're going to start with amber cards. We're going to start with ones. And the first card up is Thomas, Wide-Eyed Recruit. All right, so this is a 1 cost, 0/4 quest for a single lore point. And we've got Jimmy, you're gonna have to talk us, or maybe Joe and I have to talk Jimmy up on this, because Joe and I have this at a D, D plus, and Jimmy's got it in an F. So
Yeah.
Jimmy, why don't we ever want to play Thomas?
I mean, okay, sometimes you're going to have to play a 1-drop, but most of the time you just don't want to play 1-drops at all. At least that's my first impression of the set. Like, maybe it'll change once I start playing. So I graded almost all of my 1-drops Fs. There are some I'd play over others. So if I'm going to get some last pick fillers, I'd rather have one that has a shift target just to threaten that versus a different one.
I think this was a hard card for me to evaluate, because if this was a 1/4, I think I would have put it up even higher. But the fact that it has that 4 willpower, I think you're probably going to get 2 or 3 lore out of this before they're either challenging something with no like real threat to the board, or allowing you to get up to 4 or 5 lore for your 1 cost. So I don't know. I think if you're able to play this on turn 1, then it's actually pretty decent if they just decide not to deal with it for the rest of the game.
Absolutely. I kind of agree with Joe there. Not that, I mean, I do agree with you, Jimmy, that generally I don't want to play 1-drops, and 1-drops have to have, like you said, either a good shift target that's going to slide onto them at some point, or a real good ability, which we don't see either of those things with Thomas. But sometimes his maybe that 34th or 35th card in your deck, it might make the cut. So I think a general consensus of this card is going to be in that kind of DF range, and it's generally not going to make your deck most of the time. The next card we have, Jimmy.
Lilo Snow Artists, 1/2 for 1, quest for 1, but while you have a character named Stitch in play, she quests for 2, and also an F. Like, occasionally, if you have another card, she might get 1 extra lore before she gets banished. Just not worth it. I mean, sometimes you're going to have to play it, but try
Joe,
not
you
to.
did slide that plus on the end of the D here.
Yeah, so for me this is like an F card if you're playing sealed, but it might be a D or a D plus if you're playing draft. So it's one of those where I think that if you're able to put in multiple copies or play a few copies of Stitch, then it might become a play around card. And then I think this becomes much better if one of your super rares is that Lilo Rockstar, then you have the chance to be able to shift. I don't think it's great, but I love the opportunity to be able to take someone off guard by shifting in sealed. So that's why I put it up high. Maybe it's going to become a pet card, but that's why I think I rated it a little bit higher.
I could definitely see that happening. Yeah, anything with the shift target should get an extra look when you have that Floodborn to shift onto it. So I think we're going to settle again around the DF for this one drop, and I think that's going to be a common theme as we progress through these ones. Up next, we have location Zootopia Tundra Town. Joe?
This one is a one drop inkable location, one to move, 5 willpower, and then we have one lore at the beginning. Looks like you and I, Joe, thought this was like not the worst card, not the best card, but Jimmy also said this is the worst card to draft.
Yeah, I think it has that same upside as Thomas, where if you do manage to get this down on turn one, it's going to take your opponent a couple of turns to banish this location and also give you a chance to hit back into some exerted characters that didn't get to challenge your characters.
I think it's just a little bit sticky. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Fairy Ship only has 4 willpower, and so this is just a yellow Fairy Ship with an extra willpower. Um, and I think it's a similar type of thing. If they drop down a one drop or even their two drop, and their two drop is a 2x, then this is going to take 3 turns that they're not questing, that they're challenging into your lore resource, and so I don't think it's crazy, but I think it's definitely worth considering as one of those last couple, maybe the 33 or 35th card.
Could definitely see that, especially if you get some location synergy going on. There are some location centric cards elsewhere in the set. We'll see. All right, next we have a kind of classic Lorcana card. We have Pua, who's a 2/2 for one with one lore point. This is kind of the bread and butter one drop. If you want to play ones, this is about what you should expect on average. Again, we had well, Joe, you're gonna have to talk us up here with your C minus. How did we get there?
Nope, that
I
Oh,
was
think
I'm
think
looking
you're
at the
looking at the
wrong
one underneath
line.
it.
Yeah,
I think
my
we
bad.
we both agreed on
Excuse me.
D for this one. I think
next.
every one, yeah, every one two. I think I just put a D, and then we know how
Yep.
Jimmy feels on one drops. So
Yeah, you're not gonna find poo in pretty much any deck I play
it,
unless I'm really scraping.
I I had the double check. There aren't any shift targets, so it's not a D plus for me.
Okay. All right. Swordplay, Jimmy.
Yeah, a sword play. It's a one inkable action. Chosen character gains Challenger 3 this turn. Yeah, same thing. It's an F for me. Like, I don't want to be playing this. Like, it's gonna be a 2-for-1 yourself. Sometimes you're gonna have to play it, or maybe if you're in a sealed, you could sideboard it in, something like that. But I don't want to play this.
Yeah, I generally am
That's
not
the
going to want to
goal.
play this either. But I mean, sometimes you need to punch up. It will help you punch up, but definitely you're most likely looking to 2 for 1 yourself most of the
I
time
have
you
the
play
highest
this.
grade on this one. My thought was that there is the potential to challenge up when a character of like a game top deck or something isn't the best. But yeah, I generally agree. I do think that 3 is a pretty high thresh point though. So it turns any of your more unplayable characters into at least a removal spell. Sure, you're 2 for 1 yourself, but still not the best.
Sometimes you got to hit something big.
Alrighty,
Next we have Pot of
we
Honey.
got an item. We got a one drop inkable pot of honey. Banish this item. Chosen exerted character can't ready at the start of their turn. Uh, looks like we were all pretty low on this.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely
There's
an F. Too
not
many
a lot
hoops.
going on.
Too many hoops for not enough
Yeah.
payoff.
If this exerted something, I think this would be like a B. But
Yes.
since it you have to have so many restrictions, I think we can all agree that this is a pass.
Hopefully not being played.
All
All
right,
right.
looks like we're moving on to Emerald cards.
All right. Next we have Stitch. We all seem to like this one a little bit more. This is a one drop, inkable card, two strength and one willpower. And you can exert this character to have chosen opposing character gain reckless until the start of the next turn. And as we've all seen with John Silver, giving a character reckless at just the right time can absolutely turn the tide in your favor. We all, Jimmy, you were at C, Joe and I were both at C plus. This is the nice kind of ability that I think we're looking for when we're going to include a one drop. We want something that can actually impact the game in a
Some
meaningful way.
something that's always relevant, essentially.
Yeah. And
Unfortunately, with it being a 2/1, I think it's going to take that reckless hit most of the time. So just make sure if you're going to use this card, you time it well.
yeah. Yeah, with it being a one drop, it's and a common. I'm going to try to take this a little higher than the other ones, just so I don't have to take any other ones, right? Just forget about them for the rest of the time.
Yep. Yeah, if you can get a couple of these, that kind of will take care of that one drop slot if you even want to play ones at all. Jamie?
This one is one drop copper, hound pup, 2 strength, 1 willpower, and found ya. When you play this character, chosen player reveals their hand. He quests for 1. Just information is always valuable. And
Yeah, if you
so
can,
he's a playable one drop when you have to play a one drop.
yeah, if you can get this on one and kind of see what your opponent's setting up for the rest of the game, give you an idea of some things to play around. Um, and you know, it'll could trade with another one drop if your opponent's playing some unideal cards. But yeah, same downside as other one drops. You know, the 2/1, the one is kind of fragile. We'll see some damage moving cards later, so you know, this thing could just die pretty easily, but that information is very nice to get. I think we're all in agreement there with the D for that one.
Yes.
All right.
We have Todd all alone. We have one drop, Inkable 2/2, Storyborn Hero. Um, Now generally, we've been all on the same page of one drop 2/2s, but I think this one goes back to the comment I made with the Lilo. At least this one has a shift. Um, Other than that, pretty vanilla, pretty D worthy.
I think the only time I'd be looking to play that would be if I had the shiftable Todd.
Yeah, I gave Todd and Copper both D's just because of the shift lines.
But yeah, is there a red shift copper? Is that correct?
Green.
Green. Is it also
It's
green?
emerald.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then we have Donald Duck, Nephew Fred, a inkable one drop, 2/2, the quest for one. And this got the standard FDD across the
Yep.
board. I think we're generally not. Is there a shift Donald in the set?
Nope.
I do not believe so.
So yeah, probably closer to an F than a D for this one. We'll be trying not to play this card for sure.
Then looks like we have Hercules. We have one drop. We have a one drop that isn't a 2/2, so we're already up on this. We got a one drop Inkable 0/3. He's got 5 separate distinctions: Storyborn, Hero, Prince, Deity, Whisper. Boost 2, and while there's a card underneath this character, he gets +3 strength, and he quests for 1.
I think we were all kind of in agreement. We got D's, a couple D pluses just for the possible upside of this being a 1 or 3 cost. Is this a 3 cost 3/3?
Kind of
It's a one
is.
and a like a one and a
It's a,
half cost.
yeah.
Like you
I
get to
mean,
pay
it
the
is a
3
bit
across 2
underrate as
turns.
it's printed. Normally, with a 3 willpower character, you're going to get 1 strength point off the bat, but this one makes you do a little bit extra to get there. I think if you need a one, if you need a whisper, a card to boost, maybe this makes the cut, but I think we're generally going to be staying away from this one as well because on two you can just play a 3/3 for two anyway now. So All right, next we've got Beast Castle, another location. We've got a one cost inkable. Costs one to move a character there, and it has 6 willpower. And whenever a character challenges another character here, you'll gain a lore. So it doesn't have any innate lore gain on its own. But if you want to play a location and spend some ink to move characters there, you might have the opportunity to gain some lore. We all gave this an F, so I think we're all just going to stay as far away from Beast Castle as possible.
It's just too
Yep.
much setup.
Yeah.
All right, on to Sapphire, Joe or Jimmy.
We have a one, or Jimmy. I can do it. Look, we got a 1-drop, 2/1. We have Cinna, Vigilant Parent. She's a Storyborn ally with Alert, and she quests for 1.
Looks like we gave C's across the board here with both of you giving C pluses. Yeah, I mean, alert is a relevant ability. So having the ability to take out an evasive makes this one of the better 1-drops.
Right. Maybe an evasive rushes in, challenges in, and has just a 1 or 2 more damage needed on it, and she can finish something off.
Yeah, it looks like in this set we have a total of 9 evasive characters with an additional 5 cards that will grant a character evasive for a turn. So not a ton of evasives in this set. So it's when your opponent has one, you're really going to want to make sure you have an answer to it. And at the 1 slot, this is not a bad way to do that. Next up, we have Honker Muddlefoot, Timid Genius. It's a 1 cost inkable character with 1 strength and 2 willpower. Has quest for 1, and your character is named Darkwing Duck. Gain resist 1. I think this is a pretty easy F. I actually gave this a D minus, and would be happy to actually drop that grade to an F.
Retroactive.
You're not even getting a 2/2 for 1. The ability is kind of niche. I guess if you have the Darkwing, the legendary Darkwing, or even I think there's a 4/2 rush. You know, the resist 1 on that could be kind of nice.
It's a 2/4.
A 2/4. But I think overall this card's going to be pretty skippable.
All right, we got our first uninkable 1-drop item, Blue Smoke. If you have a character named Darkwing Duck in play, you pay 1 less to play this, and you can exert, pay 1, and banish it to give a chosen character ward. Yeah, never playing it.
Not a chance.
F, no.
F's across the board.
F.
Pretty
Next.
easily
Alrighty.
unplayable.
Let's move on to a better item. We have a 1-drop inkable item, so at least it can be put into your inkwell. We have Tiny Tim's Crutch. Exert this item, and a chosen character gains support this turn. I gave this a C+ because I've always liked the idea of support in Limited, and being able to turn your questing characters into potential removal spells across either big willpower characters or characters that just quite couldn't get there for a trade. I think I'm actually decently high on this, so I put this at a C+.
Yeah, I like this at C also. Yeah, support is always seems to be a little bit underrated and limited. You really want to be able to make sure there's some big characters getting printed at common these days. So to be able to have some of your 2 and 3 drops, you know, combined together to be able to take out a larger character, I think could provide an advantage to you.
Yeah, I gave this one a D, mostly because it's an effective reprint of Scepter, and I don't ever remember playing Scepter. So, but maybe with the new power and willpowers of all new strength and willpowers of all the new characters, how they've been upped, maybe it is slightly better now.
That's fair. I never had the perspective of playing Scepter in first chapter Limited, so I just never played Limited back then.
Yeah, I didn't really get to play any first chapter limited either, but seeing how like Basil worked in Blurple over the last, you know, couple of sets has, I think, given a lot of players a new respect for what support can actually accomplish. So I'm curious to see how this plays. I could see this dropping down and, you know, never running this card at all. And I could also see it overperforming and being something that, you know, you want to have 1 copy just to make sure that you can take out those big characters. It'll be really interesting to see how this plays out. Next, we have I keep getting all the tutus for one. We have Darkwing Duck Crime Fighter. One cost inkable character. He's a 2/2. He quests for one, and he is a D.
Yep.
Jimmy, I see you
Yeah,
bumped this one
D.
up a little. We got
Yeah,
those
D for shift target.
Yep,
Because even if you don't have the shift target, they have to respect it a little bit.
absolutely. Especially if you're playing with a play group that you're kind of used to playing with, and they know your tendencies. They're like, "Oh, you're playing a one drop. I know you got a trick up your sleeve." So even a little bit of bait equity there to get your opponent thinking. But I think generally we'll be trying to avoid playing that card as well.
Yeah, it's just another. I put it as the D because it has the shift, but the chances of you getting the shift and the one drop are already unlikely, and so
I mean, if you get the shift, you'll should be able to pick up the one drop.
Nearly indestructible. One inkable action. Chosen character viewers gains resist 2 until the start of your next turn. I gave this one. What did I give this one? An F, probably.
F,
Yeah.
F.
yeah.
I mean, I guess it's quasi removal, and like just to see you can 3/3 into a 3/3. You can bounce off
Right.
and still be around. But
I mean, I gave it a D, and Joe did also. I think we're kind of in that same boat of there might be a niche case where you want to use
yeah,
this, and so your character can survive if you have like a high value character that you need to challenge with. But I think for the most part, we're going to be leaving this one on the sidelines as well.
And our last one drop uncommon. We have another item, one drop inkable infrared pink ultra scan specs. When you play this item, draw a card and then choose and discard a card, and then you can banish the item to give a character alert. We're a little bit on the up and up. Jimmy gave it the lowest, and then I gave it a little bit more, and then Joe gave it a D. I think it's okay filtering, but the reason I gave it the F plus rather than just an F is because possibly giving alert if they have good evasives can come in handy, but I don't think it's necessarily worth playing this just to possibly take out an opposing evasive.
Yeah, D might be high. That the F plus is a little cheeky. It's probably like a D minus. I think this is probably a better sideboard card if you see your opponent has a bunch of evasives and you just need something to help take care of it. Um, F is probably closer to an F than a D.
Alrighty, and then we are going to be moving on to two costs.
All right. So our first two-cost common card is David, Protective Snowboarder. He's a two-cost inkable character. He's a 1/4 that quests for one, and he has the bodyguard keyword. And we have straight C's for this one.
yep.
Seems like a pretty solid, common two drop. If you have a character worth protecting, you can put David in the way. There's a good chance early in the game they're going to have to throw two bodies at it to get through that 4 willpower. And if you can protect a two quester for an extra turn and just kind of get a little bit further ahead in the early game, David can help you get there.
I also like him as an annoying. Like I've always enjoyed bodyguards later in the game where you can drop something down and when they think they might be able to take an easy trade or just eat something, this is now in the way. And with him being at 2 cost, I think it's easy to on your turn maybe 6 or 7 ink, you can drop him and then an additional character and then protect something and be able to quest with the other character the next turn. So I think it also just works as a later game finisher, which sounds crazy, but
No, not at
Yeah.
all. I don't think that's crazy at all.
Yeah, absolute solid card right here, Easy your top 9 picks. And it's just the fact that he's got one strength helps a bunch too. Like John Deere and Sleepy. Is it Sleepy the other one that's the 04? Both
yeah, I
got
believe
just
it's so far.
outclassed.
Yeah. Yeah, power creep is real, even in only 11 sets.
Alrighty, I think, is this our first song? We have a
It is.
2-cost inkable song, Mother Will Protect You. Chosen character can't be challenged until the start of your next turn. And it looks like we were all even on this one as well. We have all Ds, so not the absolute worst thing, but you're probably not picking this until the 30 plus range.
We're gonna
Yep.
lose to this once. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
someone of his,
Yeah.
you're gonna lose to this card. It's not gonna feel good.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know, they're gonna
yeah.
be
If you
like,
end
oh,
up like opening 2 or 3 bombs, like this might be worth it. Protect that
absolutely.
Stitch or that Bambi to get a
Yep,
couple extra draws off of it. Could be huge.
absolutely. Oh, if you get the Pete,
Oh
also,
yeah, Pete.
there's
Yeah.
some real good cards worth protecting at the top end. So this is this card's gonna be really annoying to play against sometimes, but it's it definitely will have its place. All right, our first Amethyst 2-drop. We have Nala romping in the snow. She's a 2-cost inkable character with 2 strength and 2 willpower. She quests for 1. And when you play her, chosen character of yours gains evasive until the start of your next turn. We gave this C's across, Joe with a little extra bump to the C plus. I think this is going to have a similar effect on the game to the last card we saw, where you think you're going to be able to take care of it, and then they drop the Nala, and it's oops, now it's evasive, and you're stuck looking at it for an extra turn.
I think it also gives that that's why I give it a little bit of that plus because it also gives that challenging aspect of they think that their evasives are clear to quest and maybe you've had a beefy 4/4 or 5/5 that can now just eat an evasive that they thought was safe.
Definitely.
Yep. Both good on the aggro or the defense. But it's also it's a 2-drop, but it's not really a 2-drop. So when you're
Right.
when you're dealing with your curve, you have to think about that because you really don't want to be playing this on 2. You want to be playing this later in the game. So that makes it a better
Definitely.
top deck too.
We have our first reprint.
We got 2 mana Hey Hey, Persistent Presence, 2/1. He's back. When this character is banished in a challenge, return him from your discard to your hand. Yeah, he's just annoying. And
Yep.
he can be easily take a character out and then become ink, which will help you get past that to the 7 range, because a lot of times you'll stop at 6 and you don't really want to get to that 7, but having cards like this can get you there.
Definitely. These cards are always super annoying to play against. They usually make them a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
At least in the recent sets, they've been 3/3s or 4/4s. But still, the characters that get banished and come back to your hand are always a little bit better than they seem.
I put this one a little bit higher just because well it's a hey hey for one and two I consider this a removal win con. You're essentially taking a turn and a half to fire the cannon something. And so I may be a little bit higher on this card, but especially in draft, I think if you can get a couple of these, then you end up gumming up the board with being able to play maybe a 3-cost in this on your turn 5, or have everybody get 2 of them, and now every turn you're playing two ones that can trade into them. So to me, it's almost like drawing a card after trading it a challenge. But that's why I put this one a little bit higher.
Yeah, you have it at a B,
Nice.
we have it at C.
Yeah, I don't think it quite. It's probably like a C plus because it has that ability where it comes back to your hand. I don't think it quite cracks B for me, but definitely a card I'll be picking in draft.
All right, we have another action, 2-cost inkable. Come out and fight. Put all cards from other chosen character, item, or location at the bottom of their player's deck in any random order. Draw a card. Yeah, we all gave this one an F. We didn't even give it an F plus because it said draw a card. This is the first unplayable purple draw card, right? Is that what we've all decided?
I think so.
Yeah, if it cost 1, it would be a C, but it costs 2, it's an F.
It's can't even cycle it. It's a bad cantrip.
All right, next we have Minnie Mouse, Spinning Skater. She's a 2-cost inkable character. She's a 3 strength, 3 willpower. She quests for 1. We gave this C's across the board. I gave it a C plus. It's just a good, it's just a great rate card. This was an uninkable card a few sets ago. Now it's an inkable card, and it it's just a solid 2 drop. I think this is kind of where you want to be with your twos. For twos, you used to get a 2/3 or a 3/2 with no text, and now they've just evened it out at a 3/3. Um, and yeah, these just tend to be solid and perform well at that slot in the curve.
More to add to that?
All right, and then we have Dinky. We have a 2-cost inkable 1/2. Dinky has the brains, Storyborn ally. When you play this character, each opponent chooses one of their characters and deals 1 damage to them, and then he quests for 2. Looks like Joe and I were pretty much on the same page. Joe a little bit lower, but Jimmy had this all the way down to the D plus. You don't
Yeah,
like
D plus.
Dinky?
They get the choice of where the damage goes, so it's basically like that text even doesn't exist. But it gets a D plus because of quest for 2.
Yeah, I think generally giving your opponents decisions is gonna not where you want to be.
I like that. This could possibly be a cheeky deal of damage to 1 character, but I could see going down on this just a little bit. But I did put it at the C because it quested for 2.
God forbid they have a resist character in play.
Yeah, that. All right, definitely C minus.
All right, next we have Squeaks, Cozy Caterpillar, 2-cost inkable. He's a 0/4 quest for 1, but he has the magical keyword evasive, so he can only be challenged by other evasive characters or alert characters now. We have a pretty wide range on this one. I gave this card a C plus, Joe gave this a B minus, and Jimmy gave this a D plus. I find it hard to give any card that's evasive lower than a C. I'm curious, Jimmy, to hear how you came down on this so
Because
hard.
he has 0 strength. So if you're not already ahead, you're just falling further behind if you play this. Is my reasoning.
Okay, that's
I can see that.
totally fair.
I think I didn't take a full look, but I think this was this one of the only 2-cost evasives in the entire set?
There's 2, I
Uh,
think.
There's a
2.
red uninkable one, the
Okay,
Okay.
Ruby
there's
one, I
there's
think.
3 then, because there's also the underdog one.
Right. Okay.
Oh,
Oh, and Fox.
yeah,
Well, there's Foxy, or is that or Vixie?
that's a 3
Vixie's
cost
a
that
3.
That's a
costs
3.
1
Okay,
less, yeah. I
so
just
it's the
like that it
surfer
was
mini stat.
an early, like decently high willpower evasive character. I could see coming down on it just a little bit, but I don't think it was a full B. But I liked the fact that you could play it early and possibly get multiple lore off of it, especially like if they do have an evasive, their evasives are probably going to be 3+ costs, and then at that point you've already gotten a couple lore, and then their evasives aren't going to be able to take this out in 1 swing. That's why I put it as high as I did.
Yeah, I definitely like the ability to get a few lore off of this before it's going to be banished. But I definitely hear you, Jimmy, in that this card, if you're behind, is definitely going to the inkwell.
All right, next we got another reprint. 2 inkable action song, Strike a Good Match. Draw 2 cards, then choose and discard a card. How do we look on this one? This one
Straight
is Straight
C's.
C's. Yep. A
It's
little
not card advantage, it's card
no,
parity.
but it does give you a little filtering, makes you get closer to your good cards.
Um,
Absolutely.
there aren't many draw effects, and especially there aren't many free draw effects. And so my thought was that sometimes you're having to draft those 1-drop 2/2s, and I think I'd rather try and discard those to dig deeper into my deck for a bomb, but not the craziest thing.
Oh yeah, definitely a playable card. Nothing you're first picking, but filtering is very good to be able to do.
All right, we have another 2-cost action, Snowball Fight. Each opponent chooses and discards a card. If you have a character with evasive in play, you gain a lure. Um, Looks like we all gave this D's. Um,
I don't know what that plus is doing at the end of my grade. This
I
is
mean, it
just a
gets you a
D.
lure every once in a
the
while.
lore, yeah,
Get their
and the
Yeah,
last
cheeky
cards so they
lore.
can't play that 6-drop.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Uh,
is one interesting thing about discard in even just the meta right now. I had a friend that was trying to play discard in core constructed just because we always end up in situations where the last card's like a dock or a demona, and I feel like that happens even more in limited, where maybe you've been inking and passing and not playing something because you're trying to get to that really good 6-drop, and maybe every once in a while you play this and make them discard it, but I think it's too niche to have to hold on to or have at the right time because you see this in your hand and you're just inking it right away.
at least it's inkable. You wouldn't be
Right.
stuck with it if you're forced to play it.
This is a card I'd probably board in on the draw on seal just to
Mhm.
try to get him.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Definitely, again, like you said about the Nala, this is not really a card you're playing on two. This is a card you want to hold until your opponent's holding that last card or two in their hand. Make sure you snipe the good ones. All right, on to Ruby. We have Fa Zhao, Fa Zhao, Zhao,
Fazal, I
Honorable
think.
Warrior. We, I haven't. This is Mulan. I don't think I've seen Mulan.
Yeah.
I believe so, yep.
We have a two-cost inkable, one strength for willpower. This character enters play with 2 damage, and he quests for 2. You guys both gave this an F, and I gave it a C minus. I don't really have a lot to talk you up on it, actually. This card is probably closer to a D. If you have some ways to remove the damage or move the damage, it might go up a little bit. But I think generally a 1-2 for 2, the quest for 2 is going to be below rate and something you're generally not looking to play. And I regret my grade.
Yeah, I could see it going up to a C if you have something like the Reuben or have some sort of move damage shenanigans. But that's exactly how I saw it as like it's more of a 1-2 than a 1-4. But that's why I gave this an F. Looks like Jimmy gave it an F too. Um, but if you do have some of those shenanigans, then I could see it going up just a little bit.
Still probably not a C.
Next we got Iduna, Alarmed Queen, 2 ink, Uninkable, 2/3, and Evasive. We gave this one C. I gave it a C, and then they both gave it Bs. Only reason I gave it a C instead of a B is because of the Uninkable. And there are so many good uninkable cards in the set, and 25% of the cards in the set are uninkable. So you have to be really careful with your choices in a 35 card deck. So most of the time, you're probably going to end up cutting it depending on how your uninkables go.
I think that's a fair evaluation. If you don't have many uninkables, this would probably become a good sideboard card if you're doing best of 3. Um, I just like I think it's a much better body than the O3 that we saw earlier. Being able to challenge in addition to quest, I think is huge. But I put it so high because it was a 2-cost. Um, Heaven forbid this quested for 2. It would be one of the best cards
My
in
goodness.
limited. But I can see where you came down on it being uninkable. That is something that definitely has to be considered for limited play.
Yeah, it's just solid stats on an evasive at the 2-cost slot. I'd have to have a lot of uninkables. I tend to honestly play kind of greedy
Yeah,
uninkable
I guess
decks.
I do too. So
Um, I mean, yeah, my cube decks tend to have like 9 or 10 uninkables, but we also have so much card draw and velocity in them that
Mm.
that helps a lot. And really, that's something you have to consider, I think, as well when building your deck is how much card draw and how quickly can you find your inkable cards. Um, but I'm going to be hard pressed to cut this from any deck, I think.
Alrighty, and we have our first Negaduck. We have a 2-cost inkable 4/2 evil doppelganger, a storyborn supervillain that quests for 1. and it looks like we all gave this a C across the board, with Joe being a little bit higher. Um, I like the ability that it can trade up, but that too also means that it can sometimes be traded up into. Maybe it's the last challenge that someone makes, or something along those lines. But I see this as a 2-cost, 2-turn removal spell.
Yeah, that's kind of where I think my plus grade came from, was the fact that this will trade up so often. I mean, it's going to get taken out by a 1-drop once you turn it sideways. But if you can take out their, 3 or 4 drop with your 2 drop, and then they have to give up another card to get rid of it, um, as long as it doesn't die in that trading up. So
All right,
all right, then we have. Go ahead, Jim.
we got a Force of a Great Typhoon, 2 inkable song. Chosen character gets +5 strength this turn. We gave this one D for me and Moo Man, and a C- for Joe.
Yeah, I think just a free card. Songs probably the most busted mechanic in our game.
Yes.
And the what was it, the other card that gave a character +3 strength in the turn. This is really going to let you trade something up. You get that 1 cost alert card. Then you can use your other character to sing this. If you have to 2 for 1 to get rid of that big evasive elephant, you got to
Yep.
do what you got to do sometimes. So
One
this might
drop
be a
taking out Lubby is
sideboard
good.
card. Yeah, yeah. This might be a sideboard card, but I don't think you can overlook a +5 to the strength, because that can get some things done. Still not a great card. Not going to make every deck, but there's going to be occasions where you want to bring it in.
5 is a lot. 5 is a lot.
Next, we've got Piglet, Entranced by Snow. It's a 2 cost inkable, 2 strength and 4 willpower. The quest for 1. We've got you guys both with the C. I gave it a C plus, I guess, because it's just slightly above what rate used to be, where you would get a 2/3 for 2. But now I guess you also get a 3/3 for 2, so a 2/4 is kind of right on rate. C is probably more accurate over C plus. But this is going to be something you can drop onto and really not feel terrible about.
The body to have.
All right. And now we have blue action. We have a 2-cost inkable, distract. Chosen character gets -2, and you draw a card. It looks like I was on this at a C, and both Jimmy and Joe were on this at a D plus. I'm personally really high on these types of effects. I consider this potentially a 2-for-1, if not always a 1-for-1. I don't know if you guys remember what set was it? Was it Sour Ball? Sour Ball from a couple sets ago. This
Sour
reminds
Bill.
me
Sour Bill?
Sour Bill, Sour
Yeah.
Bill, yes.
Yeah.
This reminds me of that, but on an action. Obviously, it doesn't quest, but um, to be able to replace itself and possibly give a decent trade put me as high as I was on this card.
You get your card back, so you can't
Yeah.
ever be too mad about that.
That's why I have it as a D plus. It's like it's the filler I want.
Yep. Yeah, you at least want your filler to cantrip and get you to your next better card. Next, we have Launchpad, Trusty Sidekick. We have a 2 cost uninkable steel card, 2 strength and 3 willpower, quest for 1, and you can exert it to draw a card and discard a card. But if you happen to have Darkwing Duck in play, you just get to exert him to draw a card. We went. Jimmy gave this a D, Joe gave this a C, and I gave this a C plus.
I am changing
Um,
mine to a C.
yep.
I
Uh,
completely forgot about the 1-drop Darkwing when I originally rated this.
Mm-hmm.
So, for that
and
reason alone.
even without that, just a place to be able to repeatedly filter. I don't know how many repeated filters you're going to get, but just ways to keep digging through your deck to find your good cards, I think, can't be underestimated.
Right, my thought was that this almost puts a target on its own back because it turns all of those bad cards that you had to put at the end for your 30 plus cards into potentially playable cards. He's not questing, but he's getting you to those bombs, and so that's why I had him at a C. And then I can see you going all the way up to the C plus if he just draws the card. It makes him significantly playable if you have a Darkwing.
Yeah, the uninkable would be the only downside to this guy. You definitely have to watch your count if you're going to include cards like this. But again, this is a way to get rid of, your other uninkable cards if you get glutted up on those, or even just fill your hand with more inkables.
And I think this is actually a very interesting balance. I think that if this was a different color, it may have actually been inkable. But the fact that it's a steel card, I think that's part of the reason that it is uninkable.
Totally.
All right, and we got 2-cost inkable Nani, no worries. She's a 1/4 storyborn hero, quest for 1, and when she has no damage, she gets an extra lore. Um, I, me and Joe put this as a C, and Jimmy put this as a D. Um, for me, again, it's one of those early game questers that puts a lot of pressure on, and if they're trying to race you, or if you have any sort of moving damage shenanigans, then she may end up closing out a game when they think that they aren't losing in the next quest. I'm not sure how many burn options or lore gain options we have at uh, same turn, but you can turn this into one of those situations if you're able to remove one of those damage. That's why I put this at a C.
Yeah, totally agree there.
Yeah, I got it at a D. I guess maybe it should be closer to a D plus a C, just because it's like David. It effectively has bodyguard because of the initial 2 quests. You probably get 2 to 3 lore off of it.
Yeah, they're definitely going to want to at least put a body into this after that first quest to take that extra lore point off.
That is one thing I think drops it down a little bit. Is just it doesn't always quest for that too.
Yeah.
But maybe we could think of it as you quest for 2, and then whenever they have to challenge into this, you're making them lose a lore because they're not questing with the thing that they're putting a damage onto this or something. But and then next we have another Stitch card. Stitch high badness level, 2-cost inkable, 3/2. When you have a character named Lilo in play, this character gets Challenger +3. Quest for 1. Looks like we all put this as a C across the board. It's nothing crazy, but a 3/2 for 2 that possibly has alien synergy with the alien cards coming out seems to be pretty okie dokie. Also, if you're able to get that Challenger +3 with a Lilo, this is going to challenge up into pretty much anything. And so it also makes it harder to challenge into because their 2/4 or their 2/5, if you have a Lilo, is now trading with this instead.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a Lilo in play, this card's pretty busted for a 2-drop, but you can't really, I don't think, rely on that.
Yep. Agree with everything Joe said.
And you don't even have to choose which Joe.
Nope.
All
All
right.
right.
We got a 2-cost action, the Terror that flaps in the night. The Darkwing Duck cards are awesome.
They are.
So two-cost inkable action, deal 2 damage to an opposing character. If you have a Darkwing Duck, you will deal 3 instead. Um, we have a C plus from Jimmy. The Joes gave it a B. This is there's not a lot of damage removal cards in the set. I think this is one of the only ones. So I think this is going to end up being a pretty high pick just because of scarcity of this card type, even without the duck in play. This is it's a Baboom, I think, the 2-cost. That one
Mhm.
can hit locations, but really you're just using it to hit characters most of the time. I think this is just going to be a draft in, draft out kind of high pick to make sure you have a way to finish things off and control the board where needed.
Yeah, I have it as a C instead of a B, strictly because it's only 2 damage most of the time. And with the new strength willpower of all the characters, it's just not much. It's going to have to be post challenge most of the time to finish something off instead of actually removing something that hasn't quested yet.
And that was the last 2-cost common.
On to the threes. And we'll get led off here with Pocahontas, Finding the Way. 3-cost inkable character with 2 strength and 5 willpower. And when you play her, here's that some of that sneaky lore. Chosen character gets +1 lore point this turn. So this is a good sneaky way sometimes to close out a game when your opponent doesn't see it coming. They think they've done the math. You slam Pocahontas and say good game. We gave this card C's across the board. I gave it the C plus just for that, the off chance that it will, once in a while sneak out a win.
We've seen this effect before on 2-3 bodies and on 3-4, like a lot of
Three,
3
The
costs.
Darling character,
Yeah,
she was a bigger one that did
and
that.
so becoming being a 2-5 is also just kind of sticky on the board.
Yeah. Yeah, just the extra random lore. Pretty good.
All right, and then we got 3-cost inkable Percy Pupsicle. He's a Storyborn ally. 1/4. He quests for 3, but he cannot challenge. And all of a sudden, I see why Jimmy gave it a little bit of a lower score. I don't know why, but when I graded this, I didn't look at this cannot challenge at all. Um, but looks like me and Joe both gave this a C minus, and Jimmy gave it a D. I think I may be more inclined to give it a D plus just because of the challenge, not being able to challenge. But I love a good 3-quester.
It is a
Especially
lot
at
of
such a
lore.
low cost. I don't
This
think you
is
Yeah.
really want to be challenging with your 1/4 anyway. It's not doing
No.
generally a lot of damage, so just get those lure points and make them deal with it. Terrible when you're behind.
Yeah, the more we go over the set, the more I think that there might actually be an aggro strategy to draft that's a little better than it has been in previous sets.
That'll be interesting if there is, because
it hasn't been
Lorcana
a
Limited has not been about aggro in the
Not at
right.
all.
past.
It's full board control.
Yep.
Now we
You get a few
have
few Percy's in there though, man, and you're gonna go to town pretty quick. That game's
Right,
gonna
because
end in a hurry.
this is a common, right?
Yep.
yeah,
So
You could
especially
end
in
up with a few
draft,
of
yeah.
those.
we got Amethyst 3-cost inkable Morgana Macabre 5/3 vanilla quest for 1. How do we do this? We went all C's across the board probably.
I
Yeah.
give it a C plus because I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
Just another trade up card.
Yeah, so
That
this
five strength on a 3 is
it takes out all of your opposing Percys.
and
So
lives to tell the tale. Yeah, I don't think there's a lot to say about that one. That's just going to be something you're gonna smash with, and that's about it.
she might 2 for 1, but she's probably gonna kill whatever she needs to.
All right, we've got Darkwing Duck, Dark Wolf Dog, 3 cost, Inkable, 2 strength, 4 willpower. Quest for 1. I think this is the first character we've seen with Rush so far in this set. Um, it's a little low on the strength for where I like my Rush characters to be. We gave this C's across the. Actually, we've got a B minus from Jimmy, and then Joe and I gave it C pluses.
I'm gonna
Go
guess
ahead,
that
Jimmy, talk us up.
Just
Jimmy gave this the B just because of the flavor text. That's what I'm gonna guess because this has got to be the best flavor text
it
in
is
the entire
really
set.
great. Uh,
So
no, just because of Rush, just because there's no real Rush characters, just having it can turn the tides when they don't think, you have enough power to challenge the way you need to challenge.
was the other Darkwing Duck? No, it was the Nega Duck was the 4/2. He's gonna sacrifice himself into the Nega Duck.
Yeah, Rush is kind of like removal. In a removal light set, which is kind of what this is looking like. Well, actually, there's a couple good Ruby cards, but not a ton of removal. So Rush can kind of fill in those gaps when you need to take things out unexpectedly.
Next we have Boomer. He's a 3-cost inkable, 4/3, has the beak, and when you play this character, you may exert chosen damage character. He quests for 1. Looks like Jimmy and I both gave this a B, and Joe gave it a C. Um, I I always loved the ability to exert an opposing character. It won't always be able to exert what you want to, but the fact that it's still chosen rather than something that they choose, I think is what put me on a B. Um, 4/3 is a decent body for a 3-cost, and yeah, that's what I gotta say.
Yeah, the same boat, mostly because you're going to have so many threes in your deck that you can pick and choose when he's inking, when you can play him to where effectively. So most of the time when you play him, he's going to be exerting a character.
Yep, I think I could come up to C plus on that pretty easily. I just there's not always a damage character when you want there to be a damage character, but 4/3 is a good rate for a 3-drop. It's going to trade with most of the things you want it to at that point in the game. And when you do get that extra ability to exert something and take it out, it's going to feel really nice. Aladdin, 3-cost, inkable, 2 strength, 3 willpower, quest for 2 with a bunch of flavor text. When you play an action, character gains evasive till the start of your next turn. Um, your limited decks are not going to have that many actions to be reliably turning this on. There could be, I mean, we gave this D's across the board. Joe, you gave this a D plus. I think occasionally you'll sneak an action in there, give something evasive, and do some things your opponent's not expecting. But generally, a 2/3 for 3 is a little bit understated for where we like our 3-drops to be.
Yeah, I gave the little bit of the plus just because I think this is better in draft over um like a limited pool. Sometimes those terrible actions that just draw a card or do something niche can turn into either your character can't be challenged or your character can challenge into something that shouldn't have been able to be challenged into. But yeah.
Totally. I think I'd much rather just play the Nala that gives something
Yeah.
evasive straight
Yeah.
away. Even though it's not repeatable, you're at least knowing you're going to get that up front.
Yeah. If this one targeted other characters, I'd rate him higher for sure, but it's only himself.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize
I
that
yeah,
I read right past that. I thought it was similar to a Nala. This character, this
So yeah,
card's
anything
I
that
nice.
quests
even
for 2 to me is probably at least a D. It'll never be an F.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
all right, we got another location. We have Game Preserve, 3-cost inkable, 1 to move for willpower, and gets 2 lore. And whenever there's a character with evasive here, this location also gains evasive. Looks like this is one of our split cards, specifically as like a build-around card. Um, I put it as a B. Uh, Everybody else put it as a B, and then I think Jimmy put it as a D if there's no evasives, probably.
Yeah, basically, if you have the cards for it, it's good. If you don't, it's bad. So either you've already taken a bunch of evasives and you be able to get this one, or you draft this first and then you prioritize evasives over other cards.
Right.
Yeah, that all sounds exactly right. That's going to be a game ender in some situations. They're going to
Oh
play
yeah,
that. They're going to move, you know, uh, a low cost evasive, like even one of those 2-drop evasives, and that's going to on turn 4. You play Iduna on 2, or even something else on because I think you want to play this generally on turn 4, where you can
yeah,
play
where you
it and
move
then move
immediately.
something to
Move
it,
something immediately, yeah.
and and that's just going to close out a game in short order. All right, we've got Taurus Bulba, 3-cost, inkable, 5/3, quest for 1. We've already seen this card once. C's across the board. Again, I gave it the C plus just because of that ability to once in a while trade up with that 5 strength, but I think this is a pretty stock C card.
Yep, seen it before. Next we have 3-cost Inkable Agnar. 3/4. And while you have a queen character in play, this character gets +2 strength. Quests for 1. So I didn't actually look up how many queens are in the set, which I probably should have done before giving it a rating, but let's see what we have. We gave everybody gave it a C, just strictly because of the upside, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I don't think we have very many queens in this. We have 10. Oh, this includes all the enchantments. We've got one, two, three, four, 5 queens in this, 2 of which are legendary.
It's one of those cards where before challenging, you're gonna have to read the cards you have in play because someone might randomly be a queen for some reason.
Yep, there's a Anna, a couple Elsas. The Narabi is a queen, and
Okay,
that's
and then
it.
Iduna's not a queen? I'd assume Iduna's a
Oh,
queen.
Iduna was it Iduna? And Iduna. I looked past that one. Oh yes, Iduna, Elsa, Anna, Sarabi are queens. Minnie Mouse.
We
Tiny
have
Tim's mother. We sorry.
go ahead.
All right. We've got 3-cost uninkable. 2 strength for willpower. She quests for 2 and she has support. We gave this C's across the board with the Joes giving it the plus bump, I think because of that support. We've seen this card in the past is like a 2/3 that's usually inkable. So here we're getting the extra willpower but losing the inkability. I think this is going to be kind of a bread and butter card. You're going to want support to help punch up. 2 questing is nothing to sneeze at. Just again, watch your uninkable counts. I don't know that this is going to be a top uninkable priority, but generally you're going to want to find room for the keywords. So support
uh,
is good.
One thing I didn't notice until now with the art is that she just has Tiny Tim's crutch, and that's why she gives support, right? Just
Yep.
That
because it's
checks.
a
Flavor.
so it's just she's just holding his crutch. All right, now we have 3-cost Uninkable Scrooge McDuck. He's a storyborn villain, so this is before he learned his ways with the Christmas Carol. He's a 3/2, quest for 1, and he's got Bah Humbug. During your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, chosen character gets -1 strength this turn. And looks like we are all C's with me a little bit higher and Joe a little bit lower. I said this on other negative effects, well, the negative strength effects. I think being able to repeatedly give an opposing character that minus strength lets you be able to take uh, traits that normally would banish both characters and turn them into ones where um, you're able to take out a character and yours lives. And I think that's why I gave it the C plus. I can see it being a little bit undesirable just because of the uninkable, but I think being able to give that minus makes it a little bit higher in my book.
Do we have a lot of cards that will allow us to ink multiple times in a turn? I know there's the Jiminy Cricket a little bit later.
There's the Bell and the Moana, but those are super rare and a legendary.
There's also a 3 unequal item or action that does it. That's
Okay.
But yeah, the most I gave it a C, but the more I think about it, the more I want to go down because it's the most you're going to get, like maybe 2 or 3 activations if you play this on turn 3, and then they're probably not going to be the best activations of it because you're playing it on turn 3.
And it's going to be real hard to get multiple hits in a turn with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're a little lower on this card. Moo's holding out hope. We're going to
I
get there.
I really like to throw people for a loop when it doesn't go the way they thought it would.
We'll keep an eye on that one. All right, then we've got Li Shang. We've got a 3-cost inkable. He's a 2/5 with Challenger 2. And we've got you guys both gave it B's and I gave it a C plus. Go ahead, talk me up.
I think just this is effectively a 4/5. And then they may be challenging like if you quest with this, then they're probably going to send two things into it so that you can't challenge back. But I like the idea of this almost always being a 2-for-1 because you challenge up into something. If it doesn't get banished, then they have to challenge back, so you can't challenge up into something else.
I'm
Um,
just putting my 5/3s right into this
that's fair.
thing.
That's
Uh,
true.
looking at what we have, there's at least two plus characters that can just eat this on the way back, but maybe I come down a little bit.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just like
I
having the
think
4 strength for sure.
yeah, 4 strength that early in the game is solid. It'll definitely be. I won't be cutting it from my decks when I draft it for sure.
And that was the last 3 cost. Moving on to 4 cost.
Now we got Amber Tiana, 4 ink, inkable, 3 strength, 4 willpower, support, quest for 2. Moo gave this a B. Joe and I gave it C pluses. We gave it a B minus. So we effectively all gave it the same rating.
Right around the same.
Yeah.
Uh, being able to get that a little extra boost and quest for 2 and having a decent statted body. So it's a little bit lower for a 4 cost, but that support is what makes its body a little bit smaller. But I like support 3. It seems really strong.
She's got Tiny Tim's crutch sitting on the bench next to her.
Yeah, with her being 1 more ink for only 1 more strength versus Minnie, you would think I wouldn't have a whole letter gap rating, but that ink ability is so huge.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. This is going to be a real solid inclusion in any deck.
All right, now we have our first 4 cost. I think this is one of the first beefy vanillas we've had. We have Nakoma, 4 cost inkable, 4/6, waiting out the storm, quests for 1. Looks like Joe and I put this at a C plus, and Jimmy put this at a B. This is definitely gonna gum up the board.
Yep. I like big bodies.
Big booties. Nothing's nothing. It's going to take a couple characters to get through this. Even my 5/3s are going to get stonewalled.
All right, I have to send 2 5/3s into this, and that does not feel good.
Oof, that's going to feel real bad. That's just a solid big body.
Next we have 4 ink Sarabi, 4 strength, 4 willpower, and you can exert her to give chosen opposing character -4 strength until the start of your next turn. And so I think I have this. We all have. No. Joe has a C plus, B, and B plus for Moo. Yeah. Just being able to -4 to the start of your next turn when you need that, or just a body a 4/4 for 4, which is not the best anymore, but it's still solid.
Yeah, I'd like to come up a little bit. I think I didn't read. I thought it was just this turn till this through that whole turn cycle. I think
Yeah,
really bumps this up.
I was gonna say I think I could see it being a B minus or a C plus if it was just this turn, but being able to use this either offensively or defensively, I think is what made it so high for me.
Yep. Yeah, I'd really like to see it do with that reckless tap to give something -4 strength, and then tap something else to give it reckless, and really just force your opponent into some bad decisions.
Absolutely.
Okay, and we have probably one of the better core constructed cards. We have Tigger bouncing all the way. He's a 4 cost inkable 4/3 with Splendiferous Bounce. When you play this character, you may return chosen character, item, or location with cost 2 or less to their hand, and he quests for 1. Looks like Jimmy has this as a B, and Joe and I have this at the C plus territory. Um, like I said, I think it's gonna be really strong in core constructed. I don't know how much of that that bounce mechanic is going to be worthwhile, but I think I'm going to guess why Jimmy put it as a B, and that's probably because you can play those suboptimal turn 1 and 2 characters and then turn them into ink later. I didn't think about that until just now.
Yeah, or even the
Yes.
Nala to pick that Nala
Yeah.
up and just
The
keep giving your stuff evasive. I
the
like that
Nolly,
too.
the 2-drop Nolly and Nala
Yeah.
and 2-drop Simba. Any of the 2-drops with enter the battlefield or come into play abilities. Plus also turning into ink. Because being able to get to that 6th or 7th ink without having to ink something in your hand is huge. Oh no, we lost Joe. Oh no, he's back.
Oh, did I vanish?
Oh no, other Joe's.
Oh, he's frozen. Alrighty.
Just keep on going.
All right, we have 4-cost Isis Vanderchill, 4/4 Storyborn supervillain. Chill out. When you play this character, exert choosing opposing character, and she quests for 1. We put this as an A for Jimmy and I, and a B for Joe. This is another card, back-to-back purple cards that are good. Who would have guessed? um, looks like um. Looks like you and I have this as a higher pick just because that being able to exert and have such a good body on 4, it just feels nasty. And so um I'm guessing that something like this is going to be just almost an auto pick. That's why I put it as an A. This is the first A I think anyone has had for any rating.
Yep.
And I think it's well deserved. I think she's going to be crazy in pretty much every format. Core, cube, just your tabletop games with your best friend. I think that this card is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'd play 4 or 5 of these. Like
Yeah,
that. This would be my only
yeah.
uninkable.
That's your only. Yeah, exactly. Your only uninkable. So, all right. Next.
Next, we got Yao, Snow Warrior. 4 cost uninkable emerald card, 4 strength, 3 willpower. During your opponent's turn, this character gains resist 2 and quests for 2.
Looks like we both
I
gave
got
it a
this as
B.
a solid B.
Yeah, it's essentially a 4 or 5 on your opponent's turn and quest for 2. It
Yep.
it does kind of suck that it's uninkable, but I think for what it is, it's a solid B.
Yeah, just having the 2 lore pips is what puts it over the top.
Righty. Then we have Maui, I think the first Maui. Cool to see him back. We have a 4-cost uninkable 4/3 storyboard hero deity, quest for 2, and rush. Um, Looks like you have it as a C and I have it as a B. Um, I put this high because one of my I think it was either set 3 or set 4. It was the Rush Louisa. She had the same stats as this, only he quests for 1 more.
No, yeah.
And I was really high on that card. Things have changed a little bit with characters being higher willpower, higher strength, but that's why I put him so high because he can be aggressive quester and that rush keyword um is just uh really strong to me. But I'm curious to know why you put him a little bit lower.
Yeah, put him as a C because of the 3 willpower. My guess is you won't be using him to rush as much as his uninkability you would like. So did I say that right? He's
Yeah,
because he's
yeah.
uninkable. You're not
If
going
he
to use
was
his rush enough.
inkable, if
Yeah,
he
if
was
he's
inkable,
inkable,
you'd be a B. Yeah,
right?
if not higher.
You guys
It
ever?
is interesting to see how much just being uninkable changes the playability of a card, but I really like that the Luisa, and so I felt like I was gonna really like him too, but that was a much different time with the size of characters nowadays, so I guess we'll see. Alrighty. Now we have another song, Marching Off to Battle. 4-cost song. If a character was banished this turn, draw 2 cards. Looks like we both have this at a B plus. Sorry, as a B. I have a B plus. You have it as B. It's hard to deny card draw on any form, and especially in limited when sometimes this can be card draw for free. Um, I think I put it a little bit higher because it can be a song. If there's an action, I think I would put it as a B. But just being able to draw cards when you're planning on banishing by challenging anyway, I think this is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's solid. Like being able to sing to draw 2 cards is always good. This like we get to Colors of the Wind. I have it at the same because it's almost always going to draw you 2 cards.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, there's just so much challenging going on in limited. There's always going to be a character banished this turn.
All right, last 2 for 4 costs.
4-cost Winnie the Pooh, Sapphire 2/4. When you play this character, you may return an item card from your discard to your hand. Quest for 1. You're never returning an item, I don't think.
This could have been a
And
3-drop.
Yes.
This could have been a 3-drop.
He's just too small.
Yeah, just
Poor
not
little
enough
Winnie.
impact. Anything with item in the name, like in the description for limited, really needs to do something huge. It's got to like say item and location or gain lore or draw cards. All right.
And our
Last
last one is 4-cost Uninkable Amos Slade, 6 power, 4 willpower, alert, quest for 1. Yeah, I have him as a B. I think there's going to be some packs where you're going to take him first pick. Just protect yourself against evasives.
Right. 4-cost, 4/6 also isn't anything to sneeze at when it comes to just challenging, and so he doesn't have to hit anything with evasive. Hey, we got Joe back.
And Joe's back.
Um,
Oh, all right.
Joe, we're on Amos. We kept going, but glad that you're able to connect back in.
Yeah, no worries. The AirPods died and it said you're done. So
I'm
we're
glad you're able to
back.
connect back in.
Yeah.
We were just talking about how we thought this was almost first pickable with being able to challenge into um evasive characters. It looks like you're a little bit lower on this. So what are your thoughts on this Amos?
Just the 4 willpower, ends up being a little bit fragile. There's 2 and 3 drops that can trade into this. But definitely being able to take out Lumpy and some other evasives. I think where I was at with CC plus should definitely be at least a C plus. I don't know if it's quite B minus, but time will tell. The 4 is a tough uninkable slot. But I definitely wouldn't cut this from any deck, I don't think. And I could definitely, if Lumpy is the menace that we're all suspecting he's going to be. And I think there's another 5/5 maybe in Ruby Slushy.
Slushy,
I
yep.
think it is evasive, so you're definitely going to need some answers to those cards. So, B minus is probably a more solid grade for this.
Now we're on to 5 costs, and we do not have many 5 costs. And the first one here is Fangmare. He's a 5-cost uninkable 4/4 icy officer. When you play this character, you may return a detective character from your discard to your hand, and he quests for 2. Looks like Jimmy decided to choose both Joe and my ratings. I got this at a C just because I think when I looked at, I think there's like 7 or 10 detectives, and so you have a
Actually,
decent chance of being able. Are there more than that?
there are 10 because
Okay.
there's an epic and
Yeah, 10 including
Oh,
himself.
it shows
yes, and
the yeah.
enchanted.
So there's a decent chance that you might be able to bring something back. And then the body being able to quest for 2 for 4 is pretty decent. I do have to say, if you're in some type of detective build or your things just happen to be detectives, then this gets a lot better. There's also a very interesting synergy if you have 2 of them. He can bring himself back. So I think that is what solidified me as the C for this. And so being able to bring a 4/4 that quests for 2 back over and over seems pretty strong.
I think just being the uninkable is what scared me off of the higher grade here. But definitely, if you have those synergies going, this would be a higher pick. There was a King Candy card that did a similar thing with racers, a
Hmm.
couple of sets, either in set 7 or set 8, and you could loop those pretty effectively as well.
Yeah, looping this, or even just getting the McHorn back. Like, that's a pretty good card.
We got Goofy, Marley's Clumsy Spirit. He's a 5 cost inkable. He's a 5/5. He quests for 2. And when you play him, you can ready a character. If you do, they can't quest for the rest of the turn. You guys both gave this B's. I gave it a C plus. I'll actually come up to a B minus on this. That readying a character is always more valuable than it seems. Save that 3 quester for another turn, or get another challenge out of something.
This is the set, what was it, set 7, set 8 Lilo, but without being able to play it for free. And no one was playing that Lilo for free and limited anyway. And so that's kind of where I am with it, being able to um, protect a character or to be able to challenge into something else. Sometimes you can immediately banish something, or you can use your character that like those 3/5s or 2/4s or 2/5s can swing twice into an X2 and even possibly survive. And
Yeah, when
so
you use your 5/3 to take out 2 Yowls in the same turn, it's gonna feel
yeah,
pretty good.
taking out two smaller things makes them feel worse about playing 1 and 2 drops, right?
Definitely.
um, but
Yeah, ready a character. That's pretty great, in my opinion.
Yeah, even that LeFou from set 1 and then the
Mm-hmm.
Fable reprint, that card was solid.
mm, okay. And then we have 5 cost Kanga, 5/5 Peaceful Gatherer, boost 2, quest for 2, and when there's a card underneath her, she gets +1 lore. Looks like we have C's across the board, with Joe and I being a little bit higher. A 3 quester is always great. It does cost you about 6 to do it across 2 turns, could 5 and then 2. So it is a little bit of a big investment, but a 5/5 that quests for 3 isn't anything to scoff at. And it has a
Oh,
very
yeah.
pretty art. This is actually a really beautiful art.
And even at its base, a 5/5, the quest for 2 for 5 is right on rate, so
You start running out of things to do by turns 6 and 7, and so your turn 6 may be a 4 drop and boosting for 2, and so you're able to take advantage of your ink there.
Yeah, having some ink sinks when you're drawing off the top. You might be drawing your 3 and 4 drops. Having something to do with your ink is always nice. Next, we got 5-drop Chief Tui. He's a 4 strength, 5 willpower. And once during your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, look at the top card of your deck. You may put it either on the top or bottom of your deck. And he quests for 2. We have Joe with a C, and then B's for Moo Man and me. Yeah, I just think the ability, you might only get to use it once, maybe twice. But that could be very important, because if you're getting to the point where you're playing off the top, you would rather have put those ones on the bottom and be able to draw a 5 or 6, 7.
Yeah, the only thing that kept my rating from getting up into the B range on this one was, the fact that I don't think you're gonna get to use it that many times by the time you get to this point in the game. You're only gonna ink 1 or 2 more times. But it's an amazing ability. We've got, Prince Naveen bundled up. He's a 5 cost, inkable. He's a 7/6 vanilla, quest for 1. It's just big body, gonna take out most every other card in the set. And at 5, it's a good value at that 5-drop spot. We have,
Yep. Can be
bees.
playing him a lot.
Yeah, basically bees across the board. Um, yeah, gonna upset a lot of other large characters in play.
He's going to be his own worst enemy.
Yep.
Then we have Donald Duck, 5-cost, Inkable, 4/6, quest for 2, and when you play this character, you may banish chosen item. So, as Joe said earlier, he's a 4/6 quest for 2 vanilla character with some flavor text.
He's gonna blow up some crutches and upset some people, I think.
That
Yeah,
is fair.
I think he might hit a loot every once in a while.
Yeah. That loot's gonna be sneaky good, I think.
I think so too.
But yeah, pretty generic character. We put 3s across, 3's the middleman, decent sized body, quest for 2, inkable. So you're definitely gonna put him in there if you gotta. And then we have our last 5-cost here.
All right, we've got yeah. We've got McHorn, the ice cold officer. He's a 5-cost inkable. He's a 6/5 with bodyguard. This is a great spot that's been taken up by a Hey Hey in the past and a Chen Po. That 5-cost inkable steel bodyguard always puts in work. This is kind of where I want my 5-drop spot to be. We've got bees across the board. Um, this is the last thing you want to see when you're building out your board and trying to take control, and then your opponent just slams this down on turn 5, and you have to rethink a lot of your game plan at that point.
Yeah, he can just potentially just win a game on turn 5 on the play. Just put you so far ahead.
Yeah, and he's a detective. I mean, like you said, this is an amazing card to be able to buy back.
Alrighty, on to 6-drops. We've only got a couple. Once we get into these high numbers, it's just 1 or 2 cards.
Yeah, there's only 1 7.
So we got 6-cost uninkable Pumbaa. He's a 5/6 quest for 2, and when you play this character, each opponent chooses and discards a card. Looks like we have this at a B for Jimmy and I, and a C- for Joe. This goes back to what I was saying a little bit earlier in the podcast for today. When you're able to play this as your last card, especially on the play, and you can snipe maybe their last card, or they have to choose between 2 good cards at the end, um, I think this almost becomes an in-hand removal spell. And it also is a decent-sized body that quests for 2. It sucks that he's uninkable, but I think that playing your large character at the end that might take out theirs is definitely worth doing.
Yeah, I think it was just that uninkable that knocked me down here, but it should C- is too low for this guy for sure. It's probably a C plus, but I I'd, I struggle to get him in the B range. But I do see the advantage of when it is your last card and you do take their last good card out of their hand, it is a removal spell, like you said. But sometimes it's going to brick you with that uninkability, which is what
Yeah.
knocked me down a little bit.
That's fair.
All right, we're just gonna skip over this one, right? We're gonna go straight to the. Alrighty.
We have
We've
a
got
6-cost inkable amethyst 6/5 lumpy playful heffalump, and he is an evasive that quests for 2. He is going to be a first pick a lot of the times. He's huge and he's evasive.
He is an A. I gave him a B plus, but he's an A. I just didn't want to do it because this card's going to be so miserable to play against. But he's going to
questing
be
for
so
2.
good.
It's just it reminds me of TikTok, but it quests for 2, and TikTok was a menace, and just the extra lore means you win a turn or 2 faster, and this is first pick. We'll never pass under these. You tell your young children that if they pass a lumpy, it's like passing an enchanted. It's lumpy wins games.
Yeah, he's an A. He's an A.
And then we've got our last 6-cost here in Mickey Mouse, Tiny Tim's father. He is an inkable 6-drop, 6/7 that quests for 2, and he's a vanilla. He's just a big guy. I think it's not as big as the 10/10 from a couple sets ago, but he's still pretty big for his cost.
This will be my children's favorite card, no doubt. They love the
Looks
Cauldron Born. They will love this one too.
looks like we got this in B C plus range, so not crazy, but I think that ink ability makes it easier to put a 6 cost like this in your deck.
Definitely. It's a good rate. It's 2 quest points.
Yeah, I mean, if everyone else takes all the lumpies, this will be your 6-drop most of the time.
Yeah, Lumpy can't take this out, so. And then 7 costs. Just the one. Also first
The
pickable,
best
right?
card in the set.
Right.
We have a 7-cost inkable Space Cows, Unexpected Allies, 6/8 quest for 3. We have this all rated as C. Most of the time, you're probably not getting the 7 ink, but if you do, it's pretty good.
Yep. Big body, 3 quest points. Nothing
And
wrong with this card.
we love a high cost playable card that's inkable. So
Yep.
Yeah, if this were on Inkable, it'd be like a D plus, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't think I would ever want to play this if it was uninkable. I think
Right.
I'd put it as an F.
Yeah. It'd have to have a strong win played ability or something.
Right, something. But good thing it is inkable. Alrighty, let me
Should have
do
been
a
enchanted.
little. Yeah, it'd be similar
Sick
to
enchantment.
like the Honey Wizard enchanted if it was.
Yep. All right, so that wraps up the commons. That was every common in set 11. It'll should speed up a little bit from here, not a ton, but it'll get faster as we go. Back to the ones. Here's our first 1 cost uncommon card. We have Flit, an inkable reflective hummingbird. It says 0/2 quest for 1. When you play this character, you can move 1 damage from chosen character to chosen opposing character. And we gave
I
this.
just
You guys gave
no
it to what?
no, I just accidentally switched the. There we go.
Okay. You guys gave this D's. I gave it a C plus. The O2 is kind of a weak body, but being able to move a damage when people don't expect it. Again, you're not going to play this on 1. It's going to be a sneaky, almost combat trick kind of card, where you're going to play it after a challenge to finish something off. It might not make the cut sometimes, but when this card comes into play, it can, even though it's a small effect, can have a big impact.
Yeah, definitely a filler card with upside.
Yeah, every once in a while it can move that last damage, or it makes that Lee Sang the Shang that we saw earlier a little bit more playable. You can play this as a little bit later as maybe a 3-drop and a 1-drop when you're going into turn 4 if you don't have the best 4-drop, but it's a little bit niche. Alrighty. Then we have Miko, 1-drop, uninkable, 1/1 evasive, which is awesome. Quest for 2, and then the not so awesome part. At the end of your turn, if this character is exerted, choose and discard a card or banish him. Looks like Jimmy's got this as a D, and Joe and I both have this as C. Me a little bit lower on it. A quest for 2, it's evasive, it's a 1-drop. It's just your card economy is so important in limited that this almost feels unplayable. Eh, if you're on a more aggressive plan, which seems like it might be possible for this set, then maybe you play this and you get a couple lore out of it, and then you willingly let it go after you have a bigger board. But it's gonna be hard to keep your hand size up when this is on the field.
It's a good outlet to discard some cards that you might not want at the end of the game. You don't have to, it doesn't require you to discard if you haven't turned it sideways. So if you don't have a good card to discard, you can just leave it up. Or maybe use it to get in to finish off an evasive character, support onto it to take out something evasive. I think it'll have some good use cases, but it's not going to make every deck.
Yeah. The uninkability doesn't really hurt it too much as it only costs 1 also.
Mm-hmm. All right, another bad item. Who would have guessed? We've got
1 cost, Lonely Grave. Banish chosen character of yours. Put the top card of your deck face down under one of your character locations with boost. No thanks.
Don't play this.
Yeah, we don't want to get rid of our board to boost. Maybe. F's across the board. Don't play this.
And especially because you have to banish it. It's not like you can keep putting stuff under like a Pete or a Bambi where those cards will net you some card advantage back.
Right.
Tucking a Miko under a Pete to be able to draw an extra card doesn't seem terrible, except that you've now like 3-for-1 to yourself
Mm.
to do that.
And you had to pay an ink and play this in your deck to do that.
Yeah.
Yep. All bad. It's an F. Don't put this in your deck. Got Rue, 1-drop, Inkable, Little Helper. This is a 1/1 that quests for 1, and you can tap it or exert it and put it face down under something with boost. You guys both gave this a D. I gave it a C minus. Um, you might just have some cases where you want to slip this under. If you have a boost heavy deck, if you get one of those bomb level boost cards, to be able to get an extra card under there sometimes, like the Tamatoa for an extra lure, like I said, Peter Bambi to be able to draw extra cards, you're definitely going to want to have the right pieces around it to make it worthwhile. Otherwise, probably not worth including.
Yep. That's
Yeah,
why it's a D for me. Is because there's pieces that have to be there.
C minus, I'm hopeful.
Alrighty. Then we have Gontu, 1-drop Inkable 3/3, quest for 1, and when you play this character, you have to discard a card. This is going to be a constructed all-star, but we all gave this Fs because we're not really wanting to play 1-drops anyway, and forcing yourself down to 5 cards if you're on the play, because that's the only time you'd probably want to play this. That just seems really bad.
Yeah, you just get this card for 2 ink on the next
Yeah.
turn. Like there's no reason to go negative on cards to
Right.
get this out of turn early.
And then our last 1-drop uncommon is the Winterspell itself. 1-drop inkable action. Chosen location of yours can't be challenged until the start of your next turn. Draw a card. It says
I
draw a
gave
card.
Yeah, it says draw a card. It only
Draw a
costs
card.
1. That's why I gave this one a C minus.
Do you need a locate? Do you have to choose a location to play this?
No.
So yeah, Lorcanas always do as much as you can, and so you don't have to have a location. So this is, I guess, just a cantrip, but
It's not, maybe not an F. I gave it an F. I guess it's not really an F. Maybe it's a D because it's 1 cost cycle, but hopefully you have a real card to put in its place instead.
Yeah, I like the 1 cost cycles because why play a 35 card deck when you can play a 34 or a 33?
it's fair. All right, we'll move on to 2 costs. And we'll start with Pudge.
He controls the weather. This is a 2 cost inkable card. He's a 1/3, and if you have Lilo, you can play him for free. You guys both gave this an F. I gave it a D minus. This card is, people are really excited about this card for constructed when you can pack your deck with 8, 12, 16 Lilos and get free cards. You're not going to have that luxury quite as often in limited, so this is probably best left. It's understated for 2. 1/3 basically vanilla is something you get for 1 usually. So at 2, when you're not guaranteed to play it for free, is not generally not worth playing.
Yeah, I
if
agree.
it was common, I would have gave it more than
No.
an F. Because in multiples, if you can get the common 1-drop Lilo plus a bunch of these, it would be potential to just to spam it out turn 1.
You might
and
have
just-
something cheeky in a
and
draft.
just win. But it's uncommon, so you're not going to see as many of them. So makes it an F for me.
Now we've got a core constructed playable card and a limited playable all-star. 2 cost uninkable grandmother Willow. She's a 1/2, and once during your turn, you may pay 1 less for the next character you play this turn. Jimmy's got it as an A. I've got it as a B plus, and Joe's got it somewhere between a C and a B. It's just a character lantern. Again, I never played set 1, or I didn't play much of Fabled Limited either, but I feel like Lantern wasn't too bad, and Lantern on a body is definitely a plus side. being able to pay one less for every character being a turn ahead, and it's a body. You're probably not going to quest for this much, but being able to play your bombs a turn out sooner effectively puts you on the draw if you sorry, on the play if you're on the draw, and if you're on the play, then you're sitting pretty.
Yep, I have this as a absolute bomb to me. It's a first pick. It's just being able to adjust your curve to the right towards the higher end just puts you ahead on the board.
Right. I just see it as a bad late game top deck. Um, it's good when you get it on turn 2. Even on turn 3, it's still probably pretty solid. That's the only thing bumping it down for me. I really want my A's to be effective when they're in my opener and when I top deck them.
That's fair.
No.
Aside from that, like you said, it's Lantern on a body. Lantern's a really good card. Anything that's going to help you get your bombs out sooner. Should definitely not be at that C plus. Should definitely be at least B minus for me. Um,
I do
but
have to
I'm
agree with the top end top deck being a bad card. It almost feels like this is you put this in your deck and then you almost always just mulligan 7 or 6 to try and find it.
right. And if you have that's especially when you have to watch your uninkables if you're doing stuff like that because you don't want to draw into too many of them. I'm really curious to see how this plays out. You know? All right, we've got John Smith. He's a 2 cost, 2/3 snow tracker. Quest for 1. At the end of your turn, if he's exerted and none of your characters challenged, you gain a lore. We've got this at a C across the board. 2/3 is a perfectly fine rate for a 2-drop. Early in the game, this is basically going to quest for 2 for a couple of turns when you're not doing a lot of challenging. And I don't think there's a ton else about this guy.
Yeah, just solid little 2-drop. You're
A
gonna
lot
have
of times,
you have to play some 2-drops. You can skip
Yep,
your
right.
1, but you have to play the 2s.
definitely.
And we have Simba, 2 cost inkable 2/2, quest for 1, and when you play this character, chosen opposing character gets -2 until the start of the turn. Looks like we're all on C's here. I put up that C plus because I'm gonna keep saying I really like the minus aspect for strength on cards. It might be just my bane when it comes to limited play, but that minus is what gives it to me. Gives the extra plus to me, especially as a enter the battlefield effect rather than um a quest. But maybe even then, if it quested, um then it'd be even higher. But I think that the -2 is just really strong.
Yeah, anything to help your characters trade up. And again, through that whole turn cycle is pretty key there, to help you defend too.
Yeah, that's it's a C for me strictly because it's not actually a 2-drop, so you have to compare it more to like a 4-drop. So, but the when you play ability is great.
Yeah, hopefully you can double spell that turn. Oh, this card, she's back. Angel, Siren Singer. She's a 2 cost. I think this is the first underdog we've seen also. She's a 2 cost, 2/2, quest for 1. She has the underdog ability, which is Ravensburger's way of kind of helping people on the draw get back into the game. So if it's your first turn and you're not the first player, she costs 1. She's a Singer 3. This is Cinderella all over again. Unfortunately, we don't have Strength of a Raging Fire or Friends on the Other Side to play on turn 2. So I think we're all pretty low on this. Jimmy and I both gave it D's. Moo gave it an F. You just don't have, and I'm kind of more leaning towards that F honestly than a
Yeah,
D.
me too.
I was like the reason I gave it the F was because it's going to trick people into playing bad songs. And that's why I gave it the low score, because I don't think it's going to be like you're already not playing the 1-drop 2/2s, and then this is going to make you think, oh well, I got that singer, now I have to draft these songs to make her good, and then you're going to be playing songs that don't do anything anyway. And so your first 5 or 6 cards, if you draft this first, are going to be suboptimal just because we don't have the best 3 and less cost songs. And so this is going to drag your deck down until you realize, oh wow, we don't have the best 3 or less songs, and your first few cards are going to be essentially mute if you try to go really hard into her.
Yep, I think you should just try and avoid this one at all costs, unless you're playing 8 Cindy Infinity Constructed.
Next, we have 2-drop Amethyst Anna, Little Sister, 2 Strength, 3 Willpower. When you play this character, you may put a card from chosen player's discard on the bottom of their deck. She quests for 1. I got this rated as a D. Both of you have it as a C. It's still, there are other 2-drops with better random abilities for the same stat line. So that's why it's a little bit less.
Might put this at a D+ instead of a C or a C-, just because of the potential of being able to get that shift Anna. But that was about
Looking
my
at
only
Legendary Anna,
reason.
this is the only card that you want for the entire rest of the draft.
Right.
That's true, yeah.
That's the only reason I put it at the C, because she just enables that other Anna. It is a little cheeky. You actually have to have, you don't have to just have them in your hand, but you have to in your deck, but you have to have them both in your hand. And so maybe that's where I come down a little bit, but it was just too good not to put at a C for me, with the Anna being the shift ability.
Yeah, this is definitely probably a little lower than the initial C that I gave it.
All right, then we're on to our second underdog card. We have Christopher Robin. He's a 2-cost 1/3 inkable, quest for 2, and he's got the underdog ability. So if you were on the draw, he costs 1 less. Looks like we're all over the place with this one. Me and Joe are a little bit closer, but Jimmy's all the way down at a D+. You don't like this card in Seal?
This is one of the cards that maybe aggro is possible because this is a card. I mean, you're probably not going to play it too often, but you can definitely build around this as an aggro deck. Like if you're be able to go Robin on the draw, Robin on 1, another 2-quester on 2, like another Robin, or the blue
Pudge on 3, you start
and then Pudge on 3, or Daisy on 3. Like you're just, yeah, it's possible.
I like this one as high as I put it, just because if you end up drafting a bunch of them, like 3 or 4 of them, it is an uncommon, so not as likely. But if you do end up with a few of these, he's not bad just to play on 1 and on 2, and that's why I put it as high as I did, because going into your turn 3 with 4 questing across 6 willpower seemed pretty strong to me.
And I misspoke. I said Pudge. I meant Percy. You don't want to play Pudge still.
Next, we have another item.
Oof. Mother's Necklace. This is a 2-cost uninkable. It's a lot of words for an F. At the end of your turn, if none of your characters challenge this turn, chosen character of yours gains evasive until the start of your next turn. Moo, you gave this D-. Jimmy and I both gave it Fs.
So
explain yourself.
Tell us the sauce.
All right. So anyway, we got this. No, I think I read this as I don't even know. We're gonna just change it to an F. The word evasive is on the card. Maybe I'm just thinking too highly of evasive, but yeah, being able to having to challenge is almost inevitable in limited, and the uninkable maybe as a 1 of, I don't know. I'm very high on liking to take someone off guard or something, but,
yeah, but this doesn't even give you can't challenge evasives, because at the end of your turn you get evasive till the start of your next turn, so there's not even a chance for you to get lumpy.
Right.
Yeah, to me, it's just a win more. If you're already questing and not challenging, You're already
I
winning.
concede. I concede. Yeah, I don't know. Evasive? Maybe?
It's good protection.
Next, we have another underdog, the Emerald one, White Rabbit, late again. 2-2 for 2. And if it's your first turn and you went second, pay 1 less for this. Quest for 1, evasive. I have this as a C+, both of you have it as a B. Yeah, just because it's just so small. But it's, again, evasive. I mean, you're going to want to play it, but you're probably prioritizing other cards first before you pick this one.
Yeah, I like it as a 1-drop. It's not the best as a 2-drop, but what we were saying earlier, there are 9 evasives, is that correct?
Nine naturally evasive characters in the set. That's it.
So it still has evasive. Obviously it's better on 1, but it's maybe I come down from my B to a C. I think it doesn't have the best stats as a body, but I think with the evasive keyword, it probably keeps it at a B for me.
I think the evasives are just going to be in such high demand. There was a 2/2 evasive Tipo a few sets back, and that card was still pretty decent and limited just because it gets those few extra points in if your opponent can't deal with it. I keep getting all the sweet items. All right, we've got
This
for
is a cool
Fiki's
item.
Fiki's Bakura staff. We have a 2-cost uninkable. You can pay 1 ink and exert it to draw a card, then choose and discard a card. And you have the option to bonk something. You can pay 1 and banish this item to deal a damage to chosen character. It's nice that they didn't make that. I could very easily have seen them deal damage to a damage character, as
That was one thing.
Emerald likes to do.
Did you see the dev main stage a couple of weeks ago?
Was that the one where they announced the 35 card
Yeah,
limited?
they
I missed
talked
that one.
about wanting to change wording like this specifically to make it easier for new players to not get thrown off by card usage. And so that
Okay.
was one of the reasons. They said that they're still going to have situations where they will have green deal damage to damage characters, but they're going to lean into this so that newer players don't try to do an effect that can't actually work because it's not a damaged character or something along the way. So that was like their main reason for changing the wording.
Yeah, you guys both gave this a D minus. I gave it a C plus. I just kind of really value that late game looting ability. You know, when you draw those junker 1 and 2 drops late in the game, this gives you, wanting to get rid of them. The fact that you can still do the damage after you've looted, even though it's just 1 damage, it's not super impressive. It's probably not quite the C plus I gave it, but I don't think I would come down into the D range just because it could get you out of some jams late in the game. Still not great. Not going to pick it highly, but might be worth an inclusion,
Yeah, as a one
especially if you have
over.
like some bombs that you really want to loot your way to.
All
All right,
right.
go ahead,
Next
Joe.
we have 2-cost uninkable Scrooge McDuck. He's still a villain here. Dreamborn Villain Ghost, 3/3. Boost for 1, quest for 1, and when this character gets +1 strength and +1 willpower for each card underneath him. Looks like we all valued this pretty highly as Bs. Joe a little bit lower, me a little bit higher. Um, the infinitely scaling possibility for this is what put me so high in it, especially with it already being a 2-cost 3/3. We have seen some cards be inkable at this same rate, but just being able to always make him a little bit bigger makes him almost a banish on site threat. Because you're going into your turn 3 when he quests for the first time, you can set yourself back on ink a little bit and make him a 4/4 if you have to, and you can still play another 2-cost, but he can also just sit there and gain that extra card for a few turns, and then all of a sudden they're having to get rid of a 6/6 or a 7/7, and it just keeps on getting harder and harder to deal with.
Yeah, if you put this down on turn 2 and start boosting on the next turn, and you can, find a way to boost every turn, you're gonna have a pretty unmanageable threat on your hands.
This is one of those payoff to boost cards.
For sure.
Yeah, and then he gets even better with the more Tiggers you have in your deck.
Yeah.
Because, yep, comes right back.
You
Comes
pick
right and
up
just
all
draw
those
all those
cards.
cards.
Yep.
Next
Got
up, we
Daisy.
got another underdog. This is the Ruby one, 2-drop Liquidator, 4 power, 4 strength, 2 willpower, and he's got Reckless, so no lore pip. I gave him a D, and you both gave him C. Yeah, I just rather not have a Reckless character.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of Reckless. I didn't actually think of it that way. I was only seeing it as a 4-2. But he does indeed have Reckless, and my thought was 4-2 can trade up, but if your opponent can play around that Reckless, then I think I actually dropped my rating a little bit lower.
Yeah, that sounds pretty right. Yeah, Reckless can be a liability at a lot of points in the game, even with that 4 strength on turn 2.
Yeah, and he's an
4-2
uncommon, and you can just take Negaduck as a 4-2 at common.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally. No daisies to kill and to banish in this format, so.
Yeah.
Grooge's Counting House. This is a 2-cost location. It's inkable. It costs 1 to move a character there. It has 4 willpower. It gets you 1 lore every turn. And this is the first location we've seen with boost. You can boost this for 2, and you'll give it 1 additional willpower and 1 additional lore pip for each card underneath it. You guys both gave it Ds. I gave it a C. This is actually a D. It's going to be hard to consistently pump 2 extra ink into this every turn to get the extra lore, and then it has to survive an entire turn cycle for you to reap the benefit of those 2 ink. And I think you're probably better off just putting those ink into more presence on the board.
I could have seen going up to a C if it only cost 1 to do the boost, but that extra ink to do the boost, I think, makes it almost unplayable.
Yeah, because even if you play this on 4 and you play it and then boost it, it still only has 5 willpower and is probably just getting cracked into on your opponent's turn.
All of those 5/3s we were looking at.
Yep.
All right, next we have 2-cost Darkwing Duck. He's a 4/1 quest for 1 with Ward. He does have that detective super type, and so he's going to be able to be in those detective matters lists. Looks like we've got C's and D's across the board, with Jimmy being a little bit lower on this card. I like the idea of him almost always trading into something because of the ward. You can't ever target him with that I can't remember what the name was, but the one that moves the 1 damage, the
Hummingbird.
bird or
Flit?
um
Yeah.
so it's always going to have to trade with something, and a lot of times they're not going to want to be trading into this with their 2 or 3 cost because they're going to have to do something like that to save their higher cost. That's why I put it up at a C, but interested to hear what you guys have to say.
That's exactly where I was too. The fact that you can have it sit there and wait until there's a good target for it to actually challenge into, and you don't have to really worry about anything bad happening to it in the meantime. A little warm blanket, snuggly feeling.
Yeah, it should be a C. I'm changing mine to C for sure. For those reasons, like it can just sit there, and it also has the Darkwing Duck and Detective synergies possible also.
Man, yeah,
Right.
if you drop this the turn after you play that launch pad, you can start your strong cards.
This is also a shift target that can't be killed, right? So that's an interesting little bonus.
All right, we've got Splatter Phoenix, the Rejected Artist. He's a 2-cost 1/2. He quests for 2. He has the underdog ability. So if you're on the draw, he can be your 1-drop. And again, we see Ward there. You guys both gave it Ds. I gave it a C minus. I think we're all pretty close on this one. It's understated for 2-drop, but it does have the 2 lore pips. You're guaranteed to get at least 1 quest out of it when you want it because it has Ward. Doesn't have any shift targets. probably best left on the sideline in most scenarios. Again, this could play with the Christopher Robin as it's a pretty aggressive card. It can be a one drop that quests for two, and even the two of them are interchangeable. If you have them both, you get a one drop, and then the two drop is as two questers. So I'm really
Yeah,
starting to see the pieces of that aggro deck coming together.
Yeah.
this reminded me of the Christopher Robin, and they just swapped out the ward with the extra willpower. But I think that the willpower is probably more important than the ward.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
think in most cases you'd rather have that.
And you don't really have this targeted removal in limited anyway, so. All right, next we have a terrible action. 2-cost Inkable Wipeout. Put chosen bodyguard or item into their player's inkwell face down and exerted. Joe and I both put this as an F. Jimmy put it as a D. Did you see something in this? Maybe take out that one obnoxious bodyguard or
Yeah, mostly a sideboard card, but with even being able to take out the McHorn or the 5/5 for 4, whose name I don't know at the moment, just unexpectedly, because most people are going to rate this low, so most people are not going to play around it, because why would you play this card? But it is inkable.
I think it's like a sideboard C, C
Yeah.
plus. When you bring this card in, it's going to do work. If your opponent's got a loot they're abusing, or like you said, there's a couple of beefy bodyguards, so it'll be good when you play it, and most of the time you shouldn't. Oof, more items. We got a hidden
all right.
trap, 2-cost inkable, enters play exerted, so no surprises here, and you can exert and banish it to banish an item, or give an opposing character -2 for just this turn, not the full turn cycle. Um, Jimmy and I both gave this Fs. I guess Moo, now knowing your tendencies, I can tell you, I know why you gave this one a D.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Um, I think
go
that if
for it.
this just if this just gave the minus on an exert, like even if it costs 1 or 2, I think this would be very playable. But just a one shot option, I think, is just not good enough.
Yeah, definitely a sideboard card, potentially, for dealing with an item, too, with the bonus of using it in combat.
Right. If you're going into game 2 and they played one of those harps, then maybe you have to drop this in. Then we got 2-cost Judy Hops. This is I believe this is our last. Yep, this is our last underdog card. She's a 2/2 Dreamboard Hero Detective, so we got that detective synergy. Quest for 1, and if this was your first turn, you play 1 less and resist +1. Looks like we were all on the same board pretty much. Sees across the stretch, and looks like Joe's a little bit higher on this.
That's probably just a C.
I can see it being a little bit stickier having the resist. But this is almost as bad as the 1-cost 2/2s for me. I don't know if we have any Judy Hopps shifts. I don't think we do.
I believe so.
And I think that's where it falls short for me. We don't have any additional synergy, and if this had resist 2 instead, I think it'd be amazing, but the resist one I think is just not enough.
Yeah, your opponent's going to play a 2-drop 3/3, and this card's done. Especially as an uncommon, it's not, I don't think, going to live up to the hype.
And then a story we've heard many times, a super strong constructed card that doesn't do much of anything in limited.
2-cost action song. Keep the ancient ways. Opponents can't play actions or items until the start of your next turn. Next.
Next. This is gonna be really strong in Infinity, but that's probably about it.
Yeah, not playable in limited.
All right, that
Three,
wraps up the 2s.
3 costs. Uh, do we really? Oh, there we
Looks
go.
like our
I was
first
like,
one's going to be Pleakley. Pleakley is a 3-cost inkable 2/4. He's an alien, and when you play this character, if you have another alien in play, draw a card. The 3 magic words. We all gave this C's. I think it's going to be highly dependent on how many stitches you get in those low ink spots. We did see a couple other aliens as well. They seem to be a little bit more dense in this set than some of the other types. But it's 2/4s, a little bit understated for a 3-drop at this point. We've seen just 4/4s. But if you can make that alien synergy work, a cantripping 2/4 is where it's at.
And it's got the plus side of having these cute little snow ducks, but
Any card with the duck gets a plus on it.
Yep, for sure.
absolutely. All right. Next we have Nani, Stage Manager. She's 3-cost inkable 3/3, and when you play this character, you look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal a character card with cost 2 or less and put it in your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your deck in any order. Quest for 1. Looks like Joe and I have this as a C plus, and Jimmy has it as a D minus. This card reminds me a lot of a Magic the Gathering card called Militia Bugler. I don't know if either of you have ever played that card, but it does a very similar effect. That card had an effect called Vigilance in addition, but that's not something we have an equivalency for in Lorcana. But I think that this card gets much better, especially with all the talk that we've had with the aggro strategy that might be viable, but this gets much better if her ability gets one of those cards off the top. She's essentially drawing a card. Um, the only downside I see is possibly putting your bombs to the bottom, but if you're going for that more aggro strategy, then your bombs are your 2 and 3 costs. So I see this as a build around card at the C plus. If you can't build around it, I think I agree with Jimmy. I think it's much lower on the grading scale.
Yeah, with that restriction, I'd like to see it dig a little bit deeper, maybe 5 or 6 cards, just so that you could find something. Because you don't, how many 2-drops do you really want to run? And if you're not running ones, but in that build around aggro strategy, definitely hits that C level.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely like a D. I mean, it might be an F if you're not playing the strategy where you're running at least 6, 7 2-drops, which is
Yeah.
like what you don't really want to do in a normal build. So
Yeah, you want to have a 2-drop on 2 and never see another one.
yeah.
Unless it's the Sweet Nala or something like that.
Next up, we have Amethyst, 3-cost inkable rabbit, fed up, 1 strength, 4 willpower, quest for 2, and he has challenger 3. Moo and I have this as a B and Joe as a C. Yeah, I just think it's a okay stat line. It can quest when you can get quests off for 2, and then it can challenge in and trade when it needs to trade.
Yeah, I guess having that extra stat point bumps it up, the extra lore bumps it up a little bit.
I definitely think this would be closer to a C if it didn't have the lore, but since it has the lore, it has the opportunity to both challenge and be a decent quester. So that's why I put it as a B.
I can say it. I'd like to see some play with it. Then we've got
Frozen Vine.
yeah, it's a 3-cost location. 1 to move a character there, 4 willpower, 2 lore points, and when it's banished, if there was a what kind of character here?
Exerted.
Exerted character here. Return this card from your discard to your hand. You guys both gave it a D. I gave it an F. I think it's just too much setup. By the time you're playing this on 3, your opponent's going to be able to take it out pretty easily. And really, to get that advantage out of it, you're going to have to play it on 4 so that you can move a character there. And even if you move a character there and it's exerted and they take it out, do you really want to spend your next turn replaying it again just to make your opponent have to? I mean, I guess they have to keep taking out the same thing, but you're not really able to advance your board much past that. So I just don't really like this card at all.
I think I can agree with you. I think that's why sorry, I was looking at a different card. I think I can bring my grade down from a D. Um it seems too easy to remove with the cards that we've seen.
Yeah, I think the only time this is playable is maybe in the Game Preserve deck also. You're just trying to go with it. And if you're playing the Game Preserve deck, it means you're taking all the 2-drop evasives, so they'll be able to stay protected also at this
Right.
location, so if they kill the location, you just get it back. And just constant pressure.
True. Yeah, make them keep doing the same thing. Keep them off their plan.
All right. Next we got Vixie. She's a 3-cost 1/3 that quests for 2. If you have a Todd in play, she costs 1 less to play, and she's one of our very valuable evasives. Looks like oh, looks like we all gave it a B, straight across. She's not a huge bomb, but she's definitely first pickable. And every once in a while, you may be able to play her down for 1 less. The 3 willpower is pretty big when you're playing her for as early as you are. This validates again playing that Todd early on, and so
Odd on 1 and this on 2, you're in great shape. The Surfer Mini's a heck of a card, so
right.
anytime they're printing the 1/3 evasive like this, it's gonna be a good card.
Here, we'll give you a good item this time, Joe.
Woohoo! Snow Fort. This is a 3-cost uninkable. It gives all of your characters +1 strength, and during your opponent's turns, your characters gain resist 1. You guys both give this an A. I gave this a B. This is probably more in the B plus, A minus kind of range. Lumiere messes up board states, and this is Lumiere plus. I wish you got the resist on your turn as well to make your challenges a little better. That's probably the only thing keeping me off like a solid A for this card. But I can't even imagine getting multiple of these in a draft at uncommon. If you get 2 of these down, you're done. You're easy street.
I think the only thing that would make me put this card higher is if it was a location, because it is literally a place and it's an item for some reason. So,
Right.
But
um,
it's temporary. It's not a real place, you know?
okay. But I think this is just too strong. Lumiere, like you were saying, makes math obnoxiously difficult sometimes, and then giving yourself the resist as well is just so strong.
Yeah,
Definitely first pickable for me.
full agree.
And from Straight Banger to Never Draft, we've got Elsa, Concerned Sister. She's a 3-cost inkable 2/2. 2-quester. When you play this character, you may pay less for the next action you play this turn.
Location.
Oh, sorry, location, my bad. For the next location you play this turn. We've got D's across the board. I gave it a D plus just because she quests for 2. But other than that, almost all the locations we've said have been pretty terrible. So you're not synergizing this with anything probably.
Yeah, there's the occasional queen synergy. There is the Elsa to shift, but I mean, I think that card's a little that's the one that taps 3. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good card to shift onto. I think that's the only reason keeping this off being a F.
Next up, we have Daisy Duck, Isabel, 3-cost Sapphire 2/2, Vanilla quests for 3. I have this as a D, and both of you have this as a D. Well, C minus D plus for Joe.
Yep. It's that aggro strategy coming together again.
Yeah, if it's viable, this is one of the cards.
Yeah.
Right.
Other than that, you're probably going to want to avoid this one.
Questing for 3 is rare. Sometimes you just need to finish off the game. If they can't get rid of this in the later game, then that 3 probably gets you there. Alright, next we have 3-cost Jiminy Cricket. He's a 3/4, quest for 1, boost 2. Whenever you put a card underneath this character, you may put a card from your discard into your inkwell, face down, and exerted. Jimmy and I both have this as an A, me a little bit lower, and Joe has this as a B. I think that it's a solid body for the cost. 3/4 for 3 is pretty standard, and being able to put a card into your inkwell for essentially free makes it easier to not have to mulch those cards from your hand as the game goes on. You may not be doing that at your turn 4, but using this as a turn 5 play, 3 to play, 2 to boost makes it significantly easier to get to that turn 7. Um, and the fact that you can do it over and over, not all boost cards have the ability to continue getting some sort of effect off the boost, and so I think this is pretty strong. It's a form of card advantage in my opinion.
What is being able to reuse those cards out of your discard and put them in your inkwell? I think I'd come up to a B plus on this one. I think there's just still too many stronger cards to keep this from quite cracking A for me. Um, but being able to use your discard to your advantage to be able to get to those 6, 7s, and possibly 8s in the late game.
Yeah, that's why I have it as a just same thing as Grandma Willow. Uh, being able to adjust your curve to where you can play more 6s and 7s than everybody else. So if you're just constantly going 6-drop, 6-drop, 6-drop after getting to turn 5 or turn 6.
I think I was just comparing it too much to the Kristoff from the last set, where to get
You have the
to get
quest.
the ramp, you had a quest with it, so it always exposed itself. But the fact that this one can just sit there and continue to ramp you probably makes it a little bit higher. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
getting up to B
this is a
plus.
card. Like if I took this card early, the Rue, I'd take more higher because then you could immediately put the Rue under here and immediately be playing a 5-on-4 and just getting that curve going.
It's very strong. I like this card. Gosselin Mallard. It's a 3-cost inkable. She's a 1/3 that quests for 2 and has a lot of flavor text. When you play her, look at the top 4. You can reveal an item, put it in your hand, and the rest on the bottom in any order. So kind of like the Nani, except there's no restriction on the value of the card that you can get with it. She is only a 1/3 though, and it looks like you guys gave it D's, I gave it an F. I just don't think you're going to have that many items in your deck to begin with. I think you're just going to whiff on it a lot. I understand the little bit higher grade maybe from you guys on the second lore point,
Yep,
Hmm.
but
that's
it's
it.
just such an understated body with such an irrelevant ability that I just see myself putting any 3 in my deck over this.
Yeah, strictly for the second lore pip.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be upset about it, but I wouldn't be as upset.
Okay. All right. I'm going to be trying not to play that.
Yeah, I mean, me too.
She's a little bit better Scuttle at a little bit higher cost, but Scuttle was never the play.
Yep.
Then we got a 3-cost inkable item, Darkwing's Gas Device. You can exert, pay 1, chosen character gets -1 this turn. If you have a character named Darkwing Duck, it gets -2 instead. And they both put it as F. I put it as a D minus. You could probably skim back and figure that out why I put it as a D minus.
At least it's repeatable. You're not giving it
Yeah,
up, you know?
Right. Um, this one of my favorite cards to play in set. I think I said 2 was the crossbow, the one that you could exert to give minus. That might have been set 4 actually. Either way, it was a similar effect to this. Um, you could give -2, but it costs 2 to do. This one gives -1 every time, but doesn't always get the -2. Um, but I wouldn't be too upset playing this just because of the minus, but it gets significantly better if you have Darkwing. But I've always been high on those minuses.
Especially not having to give up the card.
yeah, it definitely helps. Next up, we got 3-cost inkable launchpad. Hideout Defender. He's a 2/5, and your locations gain resist 1. Quest for 1. He's got an okay-ish stat line, but not really. So I got him as a D, and so do y'all.
Yeah.
D's across the board.
Yeah, not so good. You want Yao in this spot if you're looking for a 2/5. At least when he's cracking in, he gets that extra 2 strength. Chief. I like this card. This is a 3-cost inkable. He's a 2/5, and he exerts if an opposing character was banished in a challenge this turn. Draw a card. You guys both have this at B's. I have it at a C plus. I should probably have this at a B minus because it has those 3 magic words on it.
Yeah,
You
it
want to
looks like
draw
you have it
cards?
as a B minus.
Am I on the wrong line? Oh, I'm on the
Yep,
wrong
B's.
line.
Yeah,
We all have it at B's. Drawing cards is
B's.
wonderful, and we want to
Yep.
do it as much as possible.
Yeah.
Things are going to get banished, and if this good boy can just tap and draw cards, then we're going to be drawing those cards.
And they have to put a lot into it for it to not draw 2 cards, I think. So, and our last 3-cost, we've got Gigi Best in Show. She's a 3-cost inkable 2/4 with alert, and while she has no damage, she gets +2 strength, and she quests for 1. Looks like this was the one that you gave the C plus to. I got it a B minus, and Jim's got it at a B. This is just an awkward mixture between Lexington and I don't know, maybe Lawrence.
Uh-huh.
She's a 4/4 sometimes, and then drops down. She can challenge up into those evasives that we were talking about before. And one good thing about even though she loses the 2 at the challenger, we've seen a lot of evasives that she can challenge into twice. So she can take out maybe one of those Mad Hatters and then challenge into another evasive. And so that's why I had her at a B. She's a decent body for the cost, and then she can take out 1 or 2 evasives possibly on the good day.
Yeah, I think if you have a way to remove damage somehow, I think that would get her into the B range for me. But even just being, like you said, able to take out that 0/4 and then come back into the 3/2 and then go again into the 2/2 and just clean it all up.
Yeah, just the alert is what pushes it up for me, for sure. And the alien, I guess, is kind of relevant too with Pleakley.
Yeah, that's one thing you don't think about. She's just kind of
Oh, yeah.
tacked on there. I'm not sure what she's from Lilo and Stitch.
Must be.
All right, 4 costs.
Chief Powhatan. There's a bodyguard. We've got a 4/4 inkable, 5/5. Cannot challenge, but has a bodyguard. And I think you're pretty happy to just play this guy, let him quest, and let him soak up some damage while protecting your other more higher quester or higher value cards. This is Pluto Plus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I think I don't like the fact that it can't challenge, but maybe this is the top end of your curve in that aggro deck. You drop this down after you get a couple 2 questers, and then they're not going to have the easiest time getting through it.
Yep. Yeah, this is a great follow up to our 3 questing can't challenge dog.
Next we
Next up.
have. Yep, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. Wisdom of the Willow, 4-cost action. For the rest of this turn, whenever one of your characters quests, you may draw a card. This card is insane. Jimmy and I both have it as an A, and Joe has
It's
it
an
as a
A.
B.
It's an A. It's an A.
It's just one of those. We have so little card advantage, and well, we've talked about it so many times now. That aggro deck, maybe you're not so worried if your 1/1 Miko needs you to discard a card because you're drawing four cards off of this. But being able to refill your hand after already having the board advantage is gonna be game ending on turn 4 or turn 7 if you get this later. And this also could be a catch up mechanic if your board couldn't really challenge into the opposing board very favorably. So even if this gets 2 cards, I think that that's an upside. If this gets 3 or more cards, you're probably gonna win the game.
Yep. Definitely if it gets 3 or more. It gives you the ability, especially if you play out a board where the challenges that they can do to you aren't super advantageous to them, where it's just like, balances out. It's just so much better for you.
Can't speak badly about drawing cards.
Right.
Right.
More card draw. Next we have 4-drop Amethyst Alice Inkable 4/4. Quest for 1, boost 2, and whenever this character quests, put all cards from under her into your hand. So, gonna draw you some cards.
This is one of those.
We
This is one
bees
of those
across the
cards
board.
where I feel like this is what makes me feel like Amethyst is a little bit favored. This could have easily been a 3/3 and still have been playable, but it's just a 4/4 for some reason, and it's inkable, and
Yep.
so it's crazy. And
Yeah,
if you
all
don't
the
have the best option to quest with her the first time, there's very little removal that's going to take it out for 4. And so you could boost once, twice, and then quest and guarantee a couple cards. So it's I don't know why this is inkable and a 4/4 and
Yeah, I was gonna say it seems like they turned up every knob on this card.
Mm-hmm.
It's another good target for Rue. Just slip Rue under this, pick it up. Oh no, that's draw. No, not Rue. Sorry.
well,
I'm gonna
Rue would
repeat that
go
one.
the Rue would go back to your hand, right?
Yeah, turn it
Right.
to an
So
inkable.
you could re-ink it or replay
Mm-hmm.
it, but no, it's not drawing you a card in that sense.
Right. It's doing some cheeky things.
Yeah. Not the best use for Rue. There's better Rue uses coming in the rare section. All right, we got Big Mama. She's 4 cost inkable, 3/4, 2 lore pips with ward. So you're gonna have to challenge into this thing to get rid of it. We've got Seas across the board. It's a little bit understated, but it has the 2 lore points, so you're gonna at least get the one quest out of it that you need. Um, Nothing real spectacular here, just kind of bread and butter. You got some better 4-drops out there, but this can fill the gap if you need to.
Yep. Not upset about this filler. Can definitely just win a game, off the top, and you have to have something.
All right, next we have a song, Education or Elimination, 4 cost inkable. Choose one, draw a card, and chosen character of yours gets +1 lore and gains evasive until the start of your next turn, and banish chosen damage character. Looks like we have bees across the board. This card just has so many options, and then if you get to play this for free, you're living your best life. At the very worst, this is draw a card, and at the very best, this can finish a game if you're 1 lore off. And so being able to progress your board, progress your win condition, and possibly having it as a removal spell seems nuts to me.
Yep. I think sometimes you'll snag some big characters with the banished damage chosen character. Your opponent will challenge something with their space cows or God forbid with their lumpy. And it's just sitting there with 1 or 2 damage on it and they think it's safe and it's gone.
Yeah, just so many options to both win the game and get back in the game. And the fact that you can potentially play it for free,
And
definitely a big.
it's, I guess at the worst case, it's inkable. So I should say worst case is draw a card, but if you got to ink this on 1, then you got to ink.
Absolutely. Options are always good. We've got Mulan, ready for battle. It's a 4 cost inkable, 4 strength, 3 willpower, quest for 2. If you have a character in play with damage, she costs 1 less. And if you have a character in play with 5 strength or more, she costs 1 less. So in the best case scenario, she's a 2 cost, 4/3, the quest for 2, which is remarkable. We've got this at C's across the board because while it will cost 2 in its best case scenario, that's not really how games of Lorcana play out. You may have a character play with damage, so she's a 3 cost 4/3 with an extra lore point because 4/3 is a good stat line, but kind of standard for a 3-drop at this point. But that extra lore point kind of pushes it up. So another bread and butter card. Sometimes you'll get her for 3, sometimes she'll be 4. She's not going to be bad either way.
Yep. Solid filler.
Yep.
Next we have 4 cost uninkable slushy, Glacial Guster. He's a 5/5 quest for 1 with evasive. One of our only evasives. Looks like we have this bees across the board with me and Joe a little bit higher on it. for being an evasive, the fact that it's a 4 cost, I think is what pushed me up to the B plus here. It is uninkable, but I feel like I'm still willing to play a couple of copies of this in my deck at that uninkable.
Yep. I think I would play as many copies of this as I could pick up and just make sure the rest of my deck is inkable.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Just
for
just
sure.
this and lumpies, right?
Oh, living the dream and the evasive location.
Yep.
We're done.
Yeah, definitely gonna be first picking this card a bunch.
And it's an alien for,
Oh
those
yeah.
minor synergies as well.
Yeah. All right. Back to unplayable cards.
Darkwing Tower. We've got a 4-cost inkable location. Costs 1 to move characters there with 8 willpower. It'll gain you lure every turn, and during your turn, if a villain character is banished, you may ready a character here, and if you do, they can't quest for the rest of the turn. Don't play this card. This card is an F. Please don't put this in your deck.
Interestingly enough, I think it might be niche playable if it costs 1 less, just because of the 8 willpower. But
Right.
being at 4, I think it's just too difficult to try and make this work to any extent. I don't know how many villains we have, but not enough.
Yeah, at 3 it would be playable. With a second lore pip, it might be playable, but I think at this combination, it's outside.
Yeah, just
Funny
too
enough,
much.
if this had a second lore pip, it might actually be playable in constructed, just because it would be a McDuck
This
manor, right?
manner,
It'd be
yeah.
almost a McDuck manor.
One shy, but close.
All right, that is all of our 4 costs, so we'll move on to 5 costs.
First up, we got Terran, 5-cost uninkable amethyst 5/5. He has Rush and Quest for 1. And when you play this character, put up to 2 cards from chosen player's discard on the bottom of their deck in any order. I have him as a C plus. You both have him as a B minus. Yeah, just the uninkable is but push him down a little bit. And Rush is good and all, but like 5/5 feels small for 5-cost Rush.
It is
It's getting
crazy
there.
that the game has progressed in a way where a 5/5 sometimes doesn't feel like it's enough.
It's just kind of like a removal spell a lot of the times.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to take out most things, even if it's just trading 1 for 1. But this trading with like those 5/3/3 drops just doesn't feel good at all. I mean, it combos with the Chernobog. Take all their characters out of their discard.
Yeah, maybe can get some sneaky plays that way. All right. Next we have Mushu Sneaky Dragon. Speaking of sneaky plays, is a 5-drop uninkable 3/2 quest for 3, and whenever you play this character, you can deal 2 damage to chosen character. So it doesn't have to be damage; it's just deal 2 damage. Looks like we've got this between like the C plus and the B range. Um, I I think that this card is a B for me because sometimes you can snipe off a low cost character or finish off a character on the 5 with a 3 questing power. I can see this being closer to a C just because it's only a 3/2 for 5 and it's uninkable. But I like the idea of this being able to at least 1 for 1, if not 2 for 1, because they're probably going to want to challenge this back. But I think it's still a B for me.
Yeah, it's a B for me as well. With the three lore pips and the ETB do 2 damage is it's a bunch of nice things together. The uninkability does knock it down a little bit. I think this card could almost creep into the A range if it was inkable, or even had that third willpower point. But I think where it is, it sits at a pretty solid B.
Yeah, I have it as C plus just because of the uninkability and its stat line. Just because I think most of the time in a bad pack, you're probably not going to take this first pick over something else that's, also in the B range. So just bump it down a tiny bit.
And our last
Good one.
cost, our last 5 cost.
Yeah, we've got a Grab Your Bow. It's a song. It's 5 cost. It's uninkable. And it will banish up to 2 chosen characters with 2 strength or less. It's a good combination with some of your strength reduction cards. This would be a good reason to play some of the cards the Moo is pretty high on. Um, pulls a little Sisu impersonation or Brawl impersonation. Being able to sing this is really nice. It being uninkable is a downside, but being able to sing it, I think, kind of makes up for that. Well, um, Jimmy and I have this at B. Moo has this at a C plus. Uh, I think overall it's pretty solid. Moo, how can we get you on board with making this a B?
You got to pass me those cards that give the minus strength.
Yeah.
All right.
That was the only reason that I put it at a C plus, was because if it was inkable, I would be 100%. I think that maybe even push it up a little bit higher than just a solid B. But the fact that it's uninkable, I just don't know how much you're going to be able to hit into with this. What if your opponent just never plays anything that has 2 strength and it's just in your hand and you weren't able to get those minuses? Now, if I'm able to get those minuses and someone passes this to me because it was a bad card, I think I'm on cloud 9. But I think a lot has to work well for this to be good.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can see with all the high, sorry,
No,
Jimmy,
go
with
ahead.
all the high strength characters, and with the power creep getting a little bit more, it might be not quite as good as it looks if you can't pull off the strength reduction.
Yeah, but it is good against the evasives. There's a lot of the evasives have the low strength, so it is an answer to those. But most of the other cards do not. So
I don't think you're
you
gonna
got
want it in multiples
no, definitely
Maybe
not.
this is a good sideboard card.
against the aggro deck.
Yeah, or the
That
evasive.
may or may not exist.
The mayor, which is there's no aggro deck in Ba Sing Se. All right, 6 costs. We got 2 6 costs.
We have 6 cost uninkable Mickey Mouse Snowboard Ace. 4 strength, 6 willpower. Quest for 2. When you play this character and when he leaves play, each opponent chooses and discards a card. Looks like we got B's across the board. Maybe a little C plus for Joe. Yeah, it's just another one of those. It's the top end of the curve on the play. It's an okay stat line, and they discard their last card. Can definitely put you ahead.
And it
But the
makes them scared to
uninkability,
keep a card.
yeah,
I think
true.
that's what put me at the B for this, is it kind of keeps them scared to keep a card in hand, because if you can somehow challenge and trade and remove this, then it's 2 for oneing. And so, like, a lot of times I think that this card probably 3 for ones. You make them discard a card, it can take out a character, it discards on the way out, and if they have to send something else into this might even be a 4 for 1. And that's why I put it as a B, because this card is at bare minimum gonna 2 for 1 if they challenge into it or if they have to use a removal spell. Um, this card, I wish this card was 5, because the 6 does make it hard, but I think that this card is very strong.
And even once it's in play, it's gonna make them play suboptimally, knowing that when this card leaves play, they're gonna have to lose another card if they've kept one in hand.
Right. And we got a good boy next. We got I'm so dyslexic. Is that Copper or is it Cooper? It's Cooper, right?
Copper.
Copper.
Copper. Okay, Copper. We got Copper, 6 cost. Inkable, 8/5. Rush, Reckless. Normally, Rush and Reckless. Normally, Reckless is a downside, but for this size body, I think that this card is a beast. Looks like we all have it at B. I have a little bit higher. Maybe I drop it down to a B now because of all the 5/3s that we've seen. Sometimes this is going to be forced into a 5/3 if you absolutely have to get something off the board. But this just reminds me of Hero to All Mally. A little bit bigger, but costs a little bit more. And so that's why I put it at a B.
Yeah, love this card.
Yeah, he's just a 2 for 1 most of the time. So
Yep.
All right. On to 7 costs.
Home stretch, here we go. We've got Qian Po, 7 cost inkable. He's a 7/7 that quests for 3. You guys have him at C, C plus. I've got him at B minus. If you can get to 7, I think this is kind of where I want to be on 7. High strength, high willpower, 3 lore pips. Nothing too exciting past that, but it's a house that I don't want to have to knock down.
I think I can put it up to that B minus just because it's inkable. But yeah, I think this is definitely a finisher.
Yeah, I definitely think this is a finisher for sure. It's a C right now for me, but it could easily move into the Bs. I just don't know how often 7's going to happen in this format yet.
Yep.
If
the
this aggro deck is
exists.
alive and well. Yeah. We're thinking the same thing.
The reason to play all your Jiminy Crickets to get to Chanpo.
Yes.
Or those Willows.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Next
right,
up, we have
closest
7
up?
cost, Li Shang, Valiant Leader. He is a 9 strength, 5 willpower, 2 lore pip, but he has shift 4. So you can get him down a little early with the 3 drop.
He
We
he
all have him as
kills
C's.
anything. He kills anything, right? He banishes anything?
Yeah, I think so.
Vanishes anything.
Yeah, if he had 6 willpower, like the 5 willpower with all those with the 2 common 5/3s for 3, just puts him down.
Yep.
And if you can't shift him, then he's just a worse Shenpo like we had. So same cost, but quest for a little bit less, a little bit easier to take out. Your 3 drop can take this out. Your 3 5s. So
That's why you need to play it for 4.
exactly.
It's I think most of the time you'll end up leaving this on the sideline unless you end up with multiple places to shift it onto. It just doesn't seem like it's going to be worth it. Whew. So that
All
wraps
right.
up the uncommons. I think that's the last one, right?
Yep, that's the last one.
All right. So I think that's going to wrap it up for this. That was every common and uncommon. What do you guys think about what we've seen?
There was a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool cards, and it's different. It's definitely different talking about the cards and reading them out loud. And it's one thing I didn't think would happen. Reading a card out loud makes me like immediately think my grade differently, just because it's like, oh, that didn't do what I thought it did, or that stat line is better, and then comparing them all to the other cards as we're going through them. I was definitely looking at cards in a bubble, but seeing them one after the other makes you fundamentally think about the cards differently.
Yeah, like when I was doing my ratings, I did it all by I did the same way we're doing it now, by cost and rarity. So it was kind of like I was rating it in that bubble, in that vacuum, and then once I see it all together and go through it all at once, it kind of okay, I can adjust some ratings now.
Yeah, this was definitely a tougher exercise than I imagined it would be after listening to so many Magic set reviews for so long and hearing, LSV and other top players talk about grades and then actually having to sit down and rate every card. It was a really fun exercise to undertake and I look forward to doing it again.
I do say that I think that it's funny because we're supposed to be the experts, right? But I think just talking through this over the past couple hours has really made me see how much different like a limited experience can be by taking yourself out of that bubble. And so there's going to be cards that I think I would have taken that I'm not going to take anymore just because of a different perspective. So
Absolutely. Yeah, it's fun to kick around ideas, especially I mean, even different regions of the country play the game differently, There's a different meta in everywhere you go. So, I mean, maybe not quite as much with this game, but things tend to shake up from limited group to limited group, because as you learn, hey, Joe likes to take all of the strength reduction things. You gotta, you gotta watch out.
right.
So, I thought this was an absolute blast. We're gonna come back next week for everybody with the rares and upset review. We'll probably have hopefully. I know we're gonna be still a few days out of release. Maybe we'll be able to get our hands on some packs to crack and take a look through and definitely look forward to it. We have an email. If you want to get in touch with us, you can reach out to limitedquackdown@gmail.com. We definitely welcome your comments, questions, suggestions. Please let us know what you think about our grades, our ratings, and above all, how we can improve our cast. We're here to excuse me, we're here to help everybody improve, and we really want to hear from everybody how you think we're doing. So um, for Jimmy, for Joe, I'm Joe. And we look forward to seeing everybody next week. Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah. Good night, everyone. Shout out to other sponsored Matified. Check out their
Yes.
mats.